Are you searching for a real change that goes deep, not just on the outside, but changing your life from the inside out? In a world full of short-term fixes and quick solutions, finding a deep and lasting change can seem really hard, like trying to find your way through a maze without any help. But what if the guidance you've been looking for is actually right there, waiting for you, and comes from old, wise teachings? Welcome to the world of Stoicism, a philosophy that has guided individuals through the ages toward living with purpose, resilience, and inner peace. This isn't just another trend or self-help gimmick. It's a profound approach to life that teaches the art of living well, regardless of external circumstances. In this guide, we delve into the heart of Stoicism, uncovering its timeless principles that can empower you to confront life's challenges with grace and equanimity. You'll learn how to harness control over your thoughts and emotions, align your actions with your values, and cultivate a mindset that embraces change as an opportunity for growth. One critical aspect of integrating Stoicism into your life is the power of repetition. Just as the strength of the ocean is in its persistent waves, the strength of Stoicism is in the regular, repeated practice of its principles. Revisiting and practicing Stoic teachings continually helps ingrain these ideas deeply within us, transforming our approach to life's challenges and opportunities. This repetition ensures that Stoicism becomes more than a philosophy. It becomes a way of life, deeply rooted in our daily actions and decisions. Stoicism teaches us that true transformation begins within. By applying its teachings, you embark on a journey of self-discovery and personal development that promises not just temporary relief, but a lifelong journey of fulfillment and tranquility. Whether you're seeking to overcome personal obstacles, find clarity amidst chaos, or simply live a more contented life, this guide is your starting point. Through the wisdom of Stoicism, you'll discover how to transform your life forever, crafting a reality that reflects your deepest aspirations and values. Let's begin this journey together, exploring how Stoicism can unlock the door to a new way of living, grounded in strength, serenity, and profound joy. The old wisdom of Stoicism offers a very different way to live in a world where telling everyone everything about our lives has become normal. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius and the Stoic philosophers Epictetus and Seneca taught us lessons that have stood the test of time. They taught us how important it is to keep some parts of our lives private. Their lessons give us the courage to face life's challenges with respect and peace, knowing that not everything should be shown to everyone. Inspired by their deep insights, let us look at 7 aspects of life that, according to Stoic wisdom, are best kept private. This will help us live a life of virtue, peace, and inner wisdom. Your inner citadel. Marcus Aurelius presented us to the idea of the inner citadel, which is a stronghold inside us where we can find safety and strength no matter what is going on around us. This private space is where our deepest thoughts, battles, and victories stay. It's a place with unmatched privacy, where the watching eyes of the outside world can't see who we really are. In the peace of our inner citadel, we meet our real selves and have a conversation with them that changes how we see the world, what we believe, and even who we are. Stoics think that this inner conversation is very important for getting better and knowing our place in the world. It's a process of constant improvement and thought in which we look at our reasons for doing things, face our fears, and grow values like wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. It's not meant for the world to see this trip of self-reflection. Talking about the details of our inner change can make it less meaningful and take us off the road of real self-discovery. The inner citadel is also a safe place to escape the chaos of the outside world. It's a place we can go to get away from outside opinions and demands and find peace and understanding. Focusing only on our actions and reactions is a Stoic practice that helps us figure out what we can control and what we can't. We learn this in the quiet of our inner fortress. Being able to tell the difference between these two things is important for staying calm when life is unclear. By keeping our inner citadel holy and secret, we protect its power as a source of strength and resilience. This helps us stay strong in our Stoic pursuit of virtue and inner peace. Your problems and challenges. Going through hard times is a very personal and life-changing trip that shapes us in ways that are unique to each person's experience. Stoics say that the details of our problems should be kept secret because of this. This isn't because they want to keep secrets, but because our growth is so personal. We are called to use traits like patience, focus, and resilience when we face problems. These times put our character to the test and shape it in the fire of trial. Sharing every detail of these problems can unintentionally take our attention away from the process of overcoming and learning on the inside and put it on getting approval or support from others. The Stoic way of thinking urges us to take our problems to heart, think deeply about them, and use them to grow as people. It requires us to look inside ourselves and rely on ourselves, knowing that the real value of hardship is the strength and wisdom it gives us. Additionally, keeping our problems private protects our pride and gives us control over our story. We live in a society that often makes pain seem exciting, so meeting our fights with calm determination without needing public praise or recognition gives us a quiet sense of honor. This doesn't mean we shouldn't ever ask for help or support. It just means that the specifics of our problems are ours to own and work through. By doing this, we follow the Stoic concept of focusing on what we can change, how we think, what we choose, and what we do when bad things happen. Stoics believe that keeping our problems and struggles to ourselves is not a sign of loneliness, but of the strength of the human spirit. It tells us that we often grow in the quiet parts of our lives when no one is around. When we accept our problems as they are, we can really learn from them and use what we've learned to deal with future problems. In this way of doing things, you can develop resilience, self-reliance, and a deep sense of inner peace, all of which are important for managing the rough waves of life. Your political views and opinions. The subject of political views and opinions is complicated in Stoic philosophy, which stresses reason, self-control, and the search for inner peace. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus wrote and did things that had to do with politics. Aurelius, in particular, was a Roman emperor. However, their lessons stress how important it is to focus on what one can control. Politics can cause a lot of disagreement, so talking about political views and opinions can sometimes cause needless trouble, stress, and disagreement, which can get in the way of living a good and peaceful life. So, it might be best to keep your political views to yourself so that you can focus on personal growth and moral beliefs. Stoic philosophy says to protect your inner peace and focus on personal virtue. Hiding your political ideas is similar to this. If you choose not to take part in public political fights or say what your political views are, you lower the chance that outside battles will upset your peace. This way of thinking doesn't mean that you don't care about or are interested in politics. Instead, it means that you have chosen to put inner peace and reasonable conversation ahead of possibly divisive public talks. Keeping political views and opinions to yourself also makes it easier to connect with others in a more open-minded way, which can help build community spirit that goes beyond political differences. This action shows the Stoic concept of cosmopolitanism, which says that all people are part of the same society, built on mutual respect and understanding instead of conflict and separation. We make room for conversation that focuses on shared human values and joint growth, when we don't wear our political views on our clothing. This way of thinking pushes us to actively listen and think about things from different points of view, which helps us understand and relate to others better. By doing this, we not only support the Stoic ideals of wisdom and justice in our interactions with others, but we also help build a society where people's differences of opinion don't get in the way of our pursuit of the common good and our humanity. Stoics believe that ideas should be discussed rationally and ideas should be judged on their own grounds. Keeping political views secret respects this belief. Stoicism encourages people to understand and care about others, and it tells them to listen and think instead of trying to convince or follow the crowd. Keeping your political views to yourself can be a way to support Stoic ideals of wisdom and temperance in a time when political talks can quickly become divisive and disconnected from fruitful debate. Your goals and plans. Under the Stoic philosophy, Marcus Aurelius and his followers stressed how important it was to live a good life based on logic and virtue, focused on deeds rather than words. Stoics say that our plans and goals should also be kept secret because of this concept. Stoics value traits like resilience, patience, and adaptability, which are often needed to get through tough situations and reach our goals. By not telling anyone about our plans and goals, we can keep the focus and inner peace we need to go after them without being sidetracked by outside demands or too much attention. Stoics believe that the only thing we can really manage is our own thoughts and deeds, which is why they say to keep your ambitions secret. When we make our goals public before we're ready, we open ourselves up to opinions and possibly bad feedback, which can weaken our resolve or make us question our path. Also, the Stoic practice of focusing on the present and what we can change is harmed when we worry too much about what we will do in the future or what other people will think of us. The act of working toward a goal is just as important as the goal itself. This is an example of the Stoic values of wisdom, focus, and persistence. By not telling anyone about our goals, we make sure that our journey stays true to who we are and what we want, without being affected by social standards or passing trends. The Stoics also believed that modesty was a virtue and that quiet success was powerful. Pursuing your goals in silence can make you stronger. You can build this strength without anyone seeing you. This way of doing things lets you think more deeply about your trip, so you can make changes and learn from your mistakes without worrying about what other people will think. In a world where success is often measured by how well you are known and seen, the quiet road of private desire pushes us to define success on our own terms, by focusing on personal growth and the happiness that comes from following our values and abilities. Stoic philosophy tells us that keeping our plans and goals to ourselves is more important than getting support from other people. It tells us that the trip itself, the difficulties we face, the virtues we develop, and the wisdom we gain along the way, is what makes true success possible. This method increases our drive and dedication to our goals, while also protecting our mental and emotional health. We give ourselves the space and freedom to achieve our goals with honesty, focus, and a strong sense of purpose when we follow the Stoic practice of privacy in our plans. Your moments of weakness. In Stoic philosophy, the most important thing is to develop personal virtue and resilience. So, moments of weakness might not make sense, but the Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, knew that facing our weaknesses and fears was a key part of growing and knowing ourselves. These times of being open and vulnerable are very personal events that shape who we are and how we deal with life's problems. Stoics would say that these kinds of times should be kept secret, not because they show weakness, but because the self-reflection and growth they encourage are inherently personal. When we keep our vulnerable times to ourselves, We can work through our feelings and experiences without other people judging or affecting us. This time alone gives me the space I need to really think about things and learn more about myself. We can face our fears, question our beliefs, and eventually find strength in our ability to get through hard times when we are alone with our thoughts and feelings. A big part of Stoic philosophy is this process, which stresses how important it is to master yourself and your thoughts. We follow the Stoic principle of focusing on what we can control by talking about our weaknesses in private. This means that we pay attention to our thoughts, feelings, and actions. The Stoics also know how important it is to be able to rely on yourself and how powerful it is to face our weaknesses without looking for approval or pity from others. This is not to say that asking for help is uncourageous, but rather that the main process of learning and getting over our weaknesses is a personal one. Going inside to deal with our darkest fears and doubts is a sign of the Stoic qualities of courage and wisdom. You can really practice the Stoic ideals of calmness and courage in these quiet moments. They help you get ready to face the world with more strength and clarity. Stoicism's practice of keeping times of weakness secret is a deep recognition of how human growth and self-improvement are. It encourages us to see our flaws not as mistakes, but as chances to learn more about ourselves and grow as people. We show the Stoic traits of courage, wisdom, and self-reliance by being honest about our weaknesses in front of our own mirror. This way of doing things not only builds a strong and good character, it also makes sure that our path to self-mastery stays real and true. We find the strength and wisdom to live a life based on Stoic principles, one based on virtue and the goal of personal excellence, when we are alone and feeling weak. Rich people and financial success are often shown off and talked about freely in today's world. Stoic philosophy takes a different approach to the issue of financial standing. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus say that virtue, wisdom, and happiness are more important than wealth and other things that people can see. Stoics believe that persons' character and their desire of a good life are more important than the things they own when it comes to true wealth. Because of this, it is best to keep the details of one's finances secret, whether they are rich, in debt, or somewhere in between. This method encourages modesty, stops pointless comparison, and keeps the attention on what really matters, growing as a person and living an ethical life. Stoics believe that we should focus on what we can control, like our character, deeds, and how we deal with life's problems. Keeping our financial situation a secret is in line with this idea. Stoic principles of living a simple life and being happy with what you have back, the practice of keeping money issues private. This helps us be thankful for what we have, no matter how it stacks up against other people's. This frame of mind encourages a simple life where happiness isn't tied to money, but to the quality of our relationships, the study of wisdom, and the practice of virtue. Stoic advice to keep money problems and grudges to oneself also teaches us the value of resolving problems within ourselves and the power of managing how we respond to things happening around us. This way of thinking pushes us to put aside small arguments and emotional turmoil and instead focus on growing as people and living a good, peaceful life. We develop a mindset of resilience, mercy, and emotional intelligence by adhering to this principle, all of which improve our general health and allow us to live in peace with the world around us. Your complaints and resentments. Stoic philosophy emphasizes reason, emotional resilience, and the goal of virtue. Personal complaints and resentments are seen through the lens of self-reflection and control over one's responses in Stoic philosophy. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus all talked about how to get over bad feelings by understanding, forgiving, and realizing that things that happen to us don't hurt us. How we react to them does. So, letting off steam and hanging on to anger are not only useless, they go against the principles of Stoicism. These thinkers would say that these kinds of things should stay private because talking about them in public often makes things worse and takes attention away from personal growth and finding peace. Stoic advice says to focus on what we can control, which means keeping our complaints and anger to ourselves. We take back control of our emotions and refuse to let outside events control us by choosing not to speak out about every wrong or slight we feel we have experienced. By doing this, we are encouraged to think about what our problems are, work on solving them within ourselves, and learn to forgive others and ourselves. In order to keep our calm and peace of mind in the face of life's unavoidable obstacles, it is a process that develops our mental growth and character strength. The Stoics also thought that actions spoke louder than words. The traits we want to grow are shown by how we handle our complaints in private and how we show resilience and forgiveness through our actions. In addition to being good for our own health, this way of thinking might also make the people around us think about how they react and maybe take a more calm approach to their problems. Stoic advice to keep our complaints and anger to ourselves shows us the worth of resolving problems within ourselves and the power to control how we respond to things that happen in the outside world. We are challenged to rise above small fights and emotional upheaval and instead focus on our own growth and the goal of a good, peaceful life. We develop a mindset of resilience, mercy, and emotional intelligence by adhering to this principle, all of which improve our general health and allow us to live in peace with the world around us. When we think about ourselves alone, we find the strength to let go of bad things and move on with grace and wisdom. Let us use the wisdom we've learned from Stoic philosophy to make our daily lives better. In a world full of noise and people trying to get your attention, choosing to protect our inner space, our goals, our weak spots, our personal limits, and more becomes a source of strength and peace. Remember that the power of privacy is not in hiding who we are, but in honoring the holy places inside of us that promote development, wisdom, and resilience. Let these 7 bases help us grow a garden of peace and virtue in our minds as we go through the busy crossroads of life. May your journey within show you the way forward, and may the riches you choose to keep secret become the foundation of a life filled with meaning, honor, and unwavering inner strength. In the peace and quiet of your own world, may you be able to reach new heights while staying true to the timeless ideals of Stoicism. Early in the morning, when it's still, when everyone in the world is still dozing in silence, there is a question in the air that is almost undetectable but very important. What kind of life do I want to live? Even though this question seems easy, it gets to the heart of who we are and forces us to face the loops of failure, sadness, and overthinking that have trapped generations in a web of unrealized potential. This quiet time to think about yourself is where the path to success starts. Not by making big promises or setting lofty goals, but by making a deep, unshakable promise to yourself. A promise to change, to grow, and to break out of the never-ending circle that has trapped us. Stoic thinkers, who had a deep knowledge of what it means to be human, gave us a way to get through this dangerous terrain by following the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. Epictetus said, "First, tell yourself what kind of person you would be, and then do what you have to do." This quote sums up Stoic philosophy. It's not just about setting goals, it's also about making sure that our very selves are in line with the values of justice, courage, wisdom, and temperance. This is an action call and a reflection that success is not given, but made through the decisions and actions we make every day. In this way, Stoicism is not just accepting what happens, it is an active participation in life, a promise to live by the ideals we value, despite the chaos and stresses in our lives outside of them. There will be failures, losses, and a lot of overthinking on the way to becoming a great person. The Stoics said that the first step to becoming great is to think about yourself and tell yourself what you want to become. But this isn't just about making plans or goals. It's about figuring out what kind of man you want to be and becoming that man in line with nature and virtue. You have to picture the version of your character who always does the right thing, no matter what the world's chaos, stresses, and challenges are like. By Stoic philosophy, this is the real start of a dedicated life, where all of your thoughts and actions are in line with this better version of yourself. Help us get together with this, to get out from underachieving and break free from the chains that hold us back, to rise with courage and conviction and build a shining history that goes beyond the limits of our past. When we take careful steps, make decisions with purpose, and face challenges with unwavering resolve, we not only set ourselves up for success, but we also encourage those around us to start their own journey of change. Let's say goodbye to mediocre and take a bold step into a future full of opportunity, meaning, and unmatched success. Lesson 1. How we see things shapes our world and is the basis of inner peace. The first and maybe most important thing that Stoicism tells us is how powerful our thoughts are. Being able to stay focused on our inner guide is very important in a world full of distractions and outside forces. Taking control of our thoughts and feelings gives us the strength to question the status quo, to rise above mediocrity, and to pave the way for success. The first step to breaking out of the circle of failure and becoming a great person is to realize that our views have the power to change our reality. We give ourselves the tools we need to handle life's difficulties with poise and resilience by adopting the Stoic principles of emotional control, reason, and concentration. This road isn't simple, and there are things that could get in the way. But the problems we face are what make us grow and change. We are always at an intersection. We can see problems as impossible to solve or as chances to learn and grow. This choice, which may not seem important by itself, has a big impact on the course of our lives. We can prepare for the ups and downs of life by choosing the Stoic practice of seeing difficulties as opportunities for virtue. This change doesn't just affect how we think about life, it also changes how we actually live it. Every day stops being a list of problems that need to be solved. Instead, it becomes a chance to practice traits like patience, resilience, and courage. This lesson, which is easy in words but has huge effects, makes us think about how we relate to the world in new ways. According to this idea, the real battlefield where success is made is inside our own heads. Breaking the circle of failure starts with how we see things. To do this, we need to not only understand Stoic principles, but also be resolute in our efforts to live by them in every part of our lives. Lesson 2. Becoming stronger by accepting what will happen is called resilience. Stoicism is a strong way to learn how to accept fate and break out of the circle of failure, sadness, and overthinking that often gets in the way of our success. This old philosophy says that we can choose how to respond to things that happen to us, even if we can't change the things themselves. Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius tells us to accept that everything that happens to us is part of the universe's bigger, more reasonable order. Accept the things that fate binds you, he says, emphasizing how important it is to accept our situations with courage and peace of mind. This acceptance is not an inactive giving up. It's an active participation in life, recognizing where we are now and aiming for greatness within those limits. Stoic practice of accepting fate is more than just putting up with life's ups and downs. It means actively seeing them as important for our growth. From this point of view, every failure and sorrow should be seen as a chance to practice qualities like patience, resilience, and persistence. Because of this, we change how we feel about loss so that we don't see it as the end, but as a step toward success. This change in how people think is very important for breaking the loops of hopelessness and underachievement that last for generations. Failure shows us that our power is not in avoiding it, but in how we deal with it, which helps us develop an attitude that is focused on learning and getting better all the time. In addition, this Stoic lesson gives us the courage to stop overthinking, which stops us from acting and makes us unhappy. We find a reasonable way to deal with life's problems when we accept our fate and work hard in the areas we can change. Finding this balance between accepting things as they are and taking action is what will help us reach our goals and reach our full potential. It keeps us from getting stuck in analysis paralysis and lets us move forward even when we don't know what will happen. Using this Stoic wisdom in our daily lives builds up our resilience, which not only helps us deal with the challenges of our own journeys, but also frees us from the restrictions that previous generations put on us, paving the way for a future full of achievement, fulfillment, and success. Third lesson: using the power of the present moment. To break out of the circle of failure, sadness, and overthinking, you have to be deeply involved with the present moment. Stoicism tells us that focusing on the present moment is important, not as a way to avoid life's problems, but as a way to face them with clarity and purpose. Seneca, a famous Stoic philosopher, said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without worrying about the future." This wisdom encourages us to stop thinking about what was or what might be and start focusing on what is. We can free our minds from the web of overthinking that keeps us stuck in imagined futures and past mistakes by focusing on the present. This lets us act decisively and effectively. To embrace the present moment is not just to passively accept it, it means to actively interact with it. As a Stoic, we must carefully watch our thoughts, actions, and feelings to figure out which ones we can change and which ones we have to accept. We can practice virtue, advance toward our goals, and bring about the change we want to see in our lives when we are aware of the many chances that are available to us at any given time. We can break the loops of failure that have ruled our lives and generations by acting in the moment. Every moment gives you a choice: give in to the old patterns of sadness and inaction, or rise with purpose and action. Being present also teaches us how to walk the thin line between wanting more and being happy with what we have. Stoicism urges us to pursue greatness, but it also warns us not to tie our happiness to the accomplishment of future objectives. We can develop a sense of satisfaction that isn't saved for a future success, but is felt right now by finding worth in the process, in the small steps we take every day. This method lessens the sadness that comes from not getting what you wanted and the paralysis that comes from thinking too much about all the possible outcomes. We can change our reality, develop resilience against the tides of failure, and pave the way for long-term success as we learn to live fully in each moment. Fourth lesson: the virtue of always trying to get better and think on what you're doing. Self-reflection and constant improvement are important skills that Stoicism teaches people who want to break the circle of failure, sadness, and overthinking. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, says that we should think about and reflect on our deeds and thoughts every day. He says that self-reflection is the only way to see our real selves, without the chaos and misunderstanding of the outside world getting in the way. This practice of self-reflection is a powerful way to find the patterns and habits that hold us back and keep us unhappy and unfulfilled. When we regularly think about our actions and choices and how they relate to our core values and goals, we start a process of continuous personal growth. With each reflection, we get closer to our ideal selves. Self-reflection isn't just a way to find flaws or weaknesses, though. It's also a way to really improve yourself. It means putting our egos aside, being humble and honest about our character and deeds, and being ready to admit when we fall short of our Stoic goals. Because it forces us to face painful truths about ourselves, this process necessitates a certain amount of openness and courage. Still, it is in this pain that we grow. We develop the traits of wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance when we accept our flaws and work to improve our character. When we follow these ideals, they show us the way out of failure and toward greatness. Also, the Stoic practice of self-reflection teaches us to stop thinking too much by directing our thoughts toward positive self-evaluation and taking steps to get better. We learn not to be afraid of making bad choices. Instead, we make the best choices we have access to at the time, learn from the results, and improve the way we make decisions over time. Taking action, thinking about it, and making changes creates a positive attitude that helps us reach our goals with focus and purpose. When we make this a regular part of our lives, we not only break free from failure, but we also start a lifelong journey of personal growth and satisfaction, building a legacy of success that goes beyond the limits of our past. Learning how to be disciplined and in control of yourself is the fifth lesson. Being disciplined and controlling your thoughts are two Stoic traits that can help you break free from dullness, sadness, and overthinking. These traits are necessary to develop an attitude and way of life that will lead to success and happiness. One of the most important figures in Stoic thought, Epictetus, says that the way to freedom is not to seek freedom itself, but to develop discipline and self-control. This seemingly contradictory wisdom says that controlling your own actions and desires is the first step to truly controlling your life and its results. By following strict rules in our daily actions, thoughts, and routines, we give ourselves the tools we need to break free from the ties of laziness and delay that keep us from reaching our goals. In the Stoic sense, discipline is more than just following rules or plans to the letter. It also means making your own inner order that fits with your values and goals. It takes work to pick the harder right over the easier wrong, to wait for bigger benefits instead of smaller ones, and to stay focused when life is full of distractions. We are able to handle life's problems with ease and use our energies effectively toward our goals because we put these rules and limits on ourselves. That being said, self-control is the skill of managing your feelings and wants in a way that helps your success instead of getting in the way. It means having the inner strength to resist desires in the short term in order to achieve long-term success. Also, learning discipline and self-control is a powerful way to treat the problem of overthinking. When we train ourselves to act quickly and with purpose, we leave less room for the doubt and indecision that make us think too much. This proactive approach to life supports a mindset of action over rumination, where each choice is made from a place of strength and clarity rather than fear or worry. We break the circle of failure and set a new standard for what is possible in our lives when we practice these Stoic values. We can all reach our full potential for greatness by being disciplined and controlling ourselves. This will help us find success that has meaning and lasts. Lesson 6. The power of being able to change and adapt. To stop the circle of being average, being let down, and overthinking and become successful, One must use the Stoic virtue of adaptability. The Stoics, who have a deep understanding of how unpredictable life is, promote the idea of accepting change as a way to grow and develop resilience. Seneca, a great figure in Stoic philosophy, said that being too set in our plans or hopes can cause us to suffer and be frustrated, but instead he pushed for an open approach to life's problems, telling us to change our plans and ways of thinking when things change. We can handle the difficulties of life with grace because we are able to change. We can turn setbacks into chances to learn and grow. Stoic adaptability refers to an active engagement with the present moment, armed with the wisdom to recognize what is within our control and the calm to accept what is not. It does not mean apathy or a lack of desire. By making our thoughts open to change, we can break free from the crippling grip of overthinking and the sadness of having our hopes and dreams not come true. We can change direction when we need to and look for new ways to act that are in line with our long-term goals and core values. This desire to change and grow is what will help us get past the shackles of failure and find a way to success that can adapt to the ups and downs of life. Accepting change also encourages a culture of new ideas and imagination, which are important for striving for greatness. We develop a resilience that is immune to the fear of failing when we see every new challenge as an opportunity to learn and change. People around us are more likely to adopt the same attitude, which is good for our own personal and professional growth. As we learn to handle life's ups and downs with ease and confidence, we show others how to break free from loops of failure and not achieving their goals. Not only do we succeed, but we also help move society toward one that is more flexible, strong, and successful. Lesson 7. Why it's important to set limits and make lists. To break out of the loop of failure, sadness, and overthinking, it's important to learn how to set clear limits and make good decisions about what to do first. Stoicism, which stresses living in harmony with nature and focused on what's important, teaches us how important it is to know the difference between what really counts and what doesn't. In his writings, Marcus Aurelius tells us to focus our minds on what we can control. He suggests that we intentionally direct our actions, thoughts, and emotions toward the things that are most important to us. With this method, we have to carefully consider our responsibilities and choose to only do things that are in line with our core values and help us reach our long-term goals. By putting limits on our time and energy, we keep ourselves from getting caught up in things that will only make us mediocre. Prioritizing is more than just getting rid of things that aren't important. It's also about picking where to put our attention and energy to get the most out of them and feel the most fulfilled. This Stoic concept gives us the courage to live our lives on purpose, making choices that will lead us to success. Giving up on some chances and chores doesn't come from fear or laziness. It comes from a place of strength, knowing that our time and money are limited and need to be wisely spent. Setting priorities helps us deal with the pressures of life with focus and purpose, making sure that the things we do help us grow personally and professionally. This structured way of living also helps people who can't make decisions because it gives them a clear basis for doing so. It's easier to make decisions when we know what's important to us and what our limits are. This clarity clears out the mental clutter that often keeps us from making decisions and putting things off, letting us move forward with confidence. Setting limits and making lists of things to do helps us live a life with meaning and greatness, breaking the circle of failure and laying the groundwork for long-term success. Stoic wisdom not only helps us reach our goals, but it also makes sure that our trip is filled with wisdom, self-respect, and inner peace. 8th lesson: using loss to build on your success. Changing how we feel about loss is a key part of breaking out of the loop of average, sadness, and overthinking. Stoicism teaches us to see loss not as a setback, but as an important part of success by taking a realistic view of life's problems. In his reflective works, Marcus Aurelius urges us to draw courage from our mistakes and see each one as a chance to improve our character and our plans. This stern view changes our attention from the fear of losing to the fact that every try is a chance to learn. When we accept that failing is a necessary and important part of the path to greatness, we free ourselves from the crippling grip of overthinking and the crippling fear of making mistakes. This shift in perspective is necessary to break out of the loops of failure and sadness that trap people who don't dare leave their comfort zones. Engaging with loss in a positive way also builds resilience, which is a quality that is necessary for long-term success. The Stoic practice of premeditatio malorum, or thinking about bad things that might happen, helps us be calm and determined when things go wrong. It helps us prepare for problems and failures, not so we can focus on them, but so we can come up with ways to get past them. This proactive method makes sure that when we fail, we don't give up, but are instead ready to look at what went wrong, learn from it, and move on with more strength and understanding. When we see loss as a stepping stone instead of a problem, it changes our path to success into a trip of constant growth and self-improvement. Achieving great things and being happy is possible by breaking the circle of failure. Lesson 9. Adopting the Stoic idea of being self-sufficient to be successful. The Stoic concept of self-sufficiency is at the heart of breaking out of the circle of failure, sadness, and overthinking. Stoicism teaches that the only way to truly be free and powerful is to depend on yourself for happiness and satisfaction instead of looking for it in other people's approval or accomplishments. This idea, supported by thinkers like Seneca and Epictetus, urges us to build an inner fortress of peace and strength from which we can draw courage and inspiration. By working on being self-sufficient, we give ourselves the tools to handle life's ups and downs calmly, making sure that our happiness and success are not dependent on how things change in the outside world. To break free from the chains of failure, this change in thinking is essential. It takes us away from the never-ending search for external benefits and toward a more important, virtue-driven life. Self-sufficiency also gives you a clear sense of purpose and direction, which is very helpful for getting over thinking and not making decisions. When our sense of worth and joy comes from inside us instead of outside, we are less likely to give in to the worries and pressures that keep us from achieving our goals and being happy. Knowing that our happiness is not dependent on approval or success from others, this inner steadiness enables us to face life's obstacles with confidence and resilience. The Stoic principle of self-sufficiency also gives us the courage to take responsibility for our lives and deeds, allowing us to set our own goals for achievement. We know that we have the power to change our lives, so we don't wait for things to change outside of us or for other people to approve of us. By learning to be self-sufficient, we can break out of the circle of failure and make way for real happiness and success. This tough lesson not only gives us the strength and resilience to deal with life's problems, but it also gives us the power to make our lives fit our values and goals. The 10th lesson is about striving for greatness through work and giving back. To get out of the circle of being average, being let down, and overthinking, Stoicism teaches us that what really matters is how we affect other people, not what we accomplish ourselves. This deep understanding pushes us to put aside our own needs and strive for greatness by helping others and working for the greater good. A famous Stoic philosopher named Seneca stressed the significance of leading a life of virtue and morality that is based on a sincere care for the well-being of others. He thought that the only way to be truly great was to use our skills and resources to help others and leave a legacy of kindness, wisdom, and giving. This Stoic principle shows how charity can change things and break the cycles of not achieving our goals and being unhappy that often get in the way of our success. By putting the needs of others ahead of our own, we not only find more meaning and satisfaction in our lives, but we also encourage those around us to do the same. Serving others and making a difference gives people a feeling of purpose and connection that is important for getting past the limitations of overthinking and self-doubt. When we put our time and energy into helping others, we tap into a well of drive and resilience that helps us reach our goals with fresh strength and clarity. Also, striving for excellence through service creates a sense of thankfulness and wealth that fights the widespread feeling of lack and weakness that keeps people stuck in loops of mediocrity and unhappiness. When we appreciate the good things in our lives and share our gifts with others, we start a chain reaction of kindness and giving that makes our effect bigger and makes us feel better. We can break out of the circle of failure and set a new standard for success by living our daily lives by this Stoic principle. Success will be defined by kindness, honesty, and service to others. This Stoicism lesson not only gives us the tools to handle life's challenges with grace and resilience, but it also gives us the power to leave a legacy of greatness that goes beyond our own personal accomplishments. Imagine being in the beautiful, peaceful nature, where the only thing that sounds is the question, how can we find clarity in the midst of the chaos of daily life? The ancient Stoics taught us that focusing on oneself is powerful, that we can control what we can reach, and that we can turn problems into possibilities. Read this wisdom and think about how you can use it to live a more meaningful and peaceful life. You will learn how focusing on yourself can change how you see the world on this journey of self-discovery and resilience. Thank you for coming to the start of a change. Good to see you here, focused on yourself. Please sign up right away, share your thoughts in the comments, and give us a like if you agree. We will learn how to handle life's storms with peace and strength by working together. We will master the art of resilience and real freedom. Don't pass up the chance to change the way you see things and deepen your inner journey with timeless lessons. Mastering your emotions. As we go through life, we often face situations that test our patience, our emotional balance, and most of all, our ability to stay calm in the face of chaos. Epictetus, an old philosopher, taught us a truth that is still incredibly true today. What affects us is not what happens to us, but how we choose to understand it. This sentence makes us think deeply about the power we all have inside us, the power to control our feelings. Understanding that real freedom is found in emotional control is at the heart of Stoic philosophy, an old wisdom that still has much to teach us today. What does this really mean, though? It means that we have the master key that lets us sail through life's ups and downs, its storms and calms, with a steady sense of peace and drive. Putting yourself first means you want to explore the depths of your mind and figure out the puzzles you are faced with every day. It's not just a quick look inside ourselves, it's a real examination of conscience in which we try to figure out not only what we feel, but also why we feel it. This inner journey shows us that we can change the core of our human experience by looking at the events in our lives in a different way. It's not easy to be in charge of our feelings. We need to practice, be patient, and most of all, have a strong desire to break free from the chains that hold us back from our natural and often harmful responses. But the prize for all this work is beyond measure. Just for a moment, Picture a life where you don't have to deal with fear, worry, or anger. Imagine that you don't see problems as impossible to solve, but as chances to learn, grow, and change. Epictetus's lesson gives us hope in a world that seems to be full of chaos and doubt most of the time. He tells us that we have no power over things that happen to other people, but we do have complete control over how we react to them. Being able to stay cool in the middle of a storm and keep your head up when everything else seemed to fall apart is what true inner freedom means. Being good is enough to make you happy. As we go through the rough waves of life, we often look for a lighthouse to help us find the happiness we so desperately want. In this never-ending search, it's simple to get lost in the waves of wanting to be liked, make money, and be recognized by others. Marcus Aurelius, one of the smartest minds to have led the Roman Empire, gives us advice that is still relevant today. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. At the heart of this message is the idea that virtue, an inner quality that shows the best in us, is the real key to a happy. Wishing that we find happiness not in the short-lived shadows of pleasure, but in the bright lights of virtue and wisdom. Nature is inviting us to relearn who we are and live a full, truly human life. The instability of life and the value of the present. Our lives are so busy with all of our jobs, goals and fears that we rarely stop to think about a basic truth that we tend to ignore. Our lives are very short. The great Stoic philosopher Seneca challenges us with a thought that should ring in our hearts every morning. You could cease to exist at the next moment. This is not a call to despair, but rather an invitation to wake up and value the present moment with the intensity and presence it deserves. Being in the present moment is an art, not just a habit. It involves using the threads of awareness to weave the fabric of our lives, and it involves cherishing each moment as if it were special, which it is. Through this way of looking at daily things, we can break free from the chains of the past, which are filled with sorrow and longing, and the weight of the future, which is full of doubt and worry. To live in the present moment is to accept life as it is, with all of its flaws, difficulties, and beauty. To dance to the random beat of the world while keeping your feet firmly on the ground of reality. Stoicism's central tenet, the value of the present, does not advise us to ignore the past or the future. Rather, it teaches us to plan wisely and draw wisdom from past experiences, but not by getting lost in daydreams or worries that prevent us from living fully. As we go through life, let go of the weight of what if and maybe, which keeps us from enjoying the beauty of the present moment. Stoicism says that true freedom is being able to focus on the present, know that life is uncertain, and still choose to live each day with meaning and purpose. Making peace with the fact that everything changes means realizing that we can't control everything about our lives, but we do have complete control over how we choose to live them. Finally, let us use Stoic wisdom to help us become more aware and present in our lives. May each breath, each step, and each movement be filled with purpose and thanksgiving. Things that were normal become special and daily events amazing, not because they have changed around us, but because we have changed how we see and experience them. In a world that is becoming more linked and where society's opinions are loudly heard, setting standards for success, happiness, and satisfaction, self-sufficiency is a strong reminder of a truth that has been forgotten. Real freedom lies in being able to take care of yourself. Deeply rooted in Stoic wisdom, this idea tells us to look within, to see and develop an inner freedom that goes beyond outside situations and other people's views. When you think about yourself in this way, it's not selfish or lonely. It's a recognition of the power we all have to make our lives full and important by using the resources we already have. It means realizing that our happiness and peace of mind come from how we see, understand, and respond to the world around us, even though we may value and seek relationships, knowledge, and experiences from other people. Being self-sufficient doesn't mean rejecting our social nature or the benefits of interacting with others. Instead, it means realizing that a healthy and fulfilling relationship with oneself is the basis for all healthy and beneficial interactions with others. Being able to take care of ourselves gives us mental stability and clear thinking, which helps us handle the ups and downs of life with balance and wisdom. Deep self-knowledge and a constant effort to make sure our beliefs, thoughts, and actions are in line with the rules we choose to live by lead to internal freedom. Our weaknesses make us stronger, and our strengths teach us to be humble and thankful with each success. As we work on becoming self-sufficient, we learn that real freedom comes from being able to be at peace with oneself, no matter what is going on around you. We learn that happiness and peace are not far-off goals that can be reached by getting more things or getting praise from other people. Instead, they are states of being that we can develop at any time by the choices, attitudes, and views we hold. Accepting what you can't change. In our never-ending search for control over all the different parts of our lives, we often find the frustrating truth that we can't change many things. With its foresight that goes back thousands of years, Stoic wisdom gives us a new way to look at this common problem, how to tell the difference between what we can control and what we can't. Accepting this difference with peace not only frees us from many of the worries we face every day, but it also sets us up for a deep and permanent inner peace. Accepting that we can't change things doesn't mean giving up or being passive when life gets hard. Instead, it means choosing to put our energy, attention, and efforts where we can really make a difference. It means realizing that we have complete control over how we react to random events, even though we can't plan or change them. Acceptance is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength and wisdom, because it means we know it's pointless to fight forces that are outside of our control. Self-observation is the first thing that you need to do to find peace in the face of things you can't control. As we become more aware of how we automatically respond to things going on around us, we start to see the space between the trigger and our response. Instead of being taken away by spontaneous reactions that don't help, that place gives us the freedom to choose an answer that is in line with our greatest values and goals. This change in viewpoint is hard to do at first because it goes against many of our deeply held mental habits. But as we get used to this way of thinking, we find a source of peace and resilience that helps us face life's storms with renewed confidence and calm. Learning to tell the difference between things we can control and things we can't helps us let go of fears that aren't important and focus on doing things that make our lives and the lives of others better. This acceptance also teaches us to value and be grateful for the lessons and experiences that life gives us, even the ones that seem bad at first. When we accept the flow of life with openness and flexibility, we develop a thankfulness that changes how we interact with the world. Detachment is the practice of not being attached to things that make you feel good. In our complicated lives, we are often drawn to many outside things that make us want to be happy and satisfied. Epictetus, one of the great thinkers in Stoic philosophy, does offer us a different way that is full of wisdom and peace, the practice of separation. If you wish to be a man of peace, learn to ignore many things, he says. Instead of encouraging us to be indifferent or alone, this teaching tells us to carefully focus on what means most for our own growth and well-being. Epictetus taught us that detachment is a conscious way to free ourselves from thought patterns, behaviors, and relationships that are holding us back from growth and happiness. It's realizing that many of the things we think are important to our lives actually take our attention away from what is truly useful and fulfilling. We can focus on developing inner traits like resilience, keenness, and wisdom when we separate ourselves from these outside forces. When we become detached, we don't give up on relationships or the good things in life. Instead, we rethink our goals and change how we relate to the world around us. It is a choice of where to put our attention and energy that we learn to ignore many things. To focus on building an inner peace and happiness that doesn't depend on outside factors. It means putting less weight on other people's opinions, social pressures, and the constant demands of shopping. As we move toward distance, we are forced to question what we think we know about happiness, success, and the meaning of life. It takes courage to face the pain that may come up when we let go of old habits and ways of thinking, but the reward is freedom like never before. The freedom to choose how to live based on our true values and a clear picture of what we really want and need. By practicing separation, we find a source of peace and happiness that never runs out. We learn to live with less stress by realizing that everything changes and finding joy in simple things and real connections with other people. This increased focus on our own growth not only changes us, but it can also help other people and the world around us change for the better. Community and humanity are important parts of Stoic philosophy. Within its many layers and details, there is a basic truth that will always be clear. Even though the path to virtue and wisdom is unique to each person, we are not meant to take it by ourselves. Contrary to popular belief, Stoicism emphasizes the value of treating others with compassion and justice. We are all connected and important parts of a bigger picture. This bigger picture is society, and its strength and beauty come from the different ways its members work together and contribute. In this situation, empathy isn't just being able to understand how someone else feels, it's also a call to action. It means seeing in someone else not a stranger, but a mirror of yourself, someone who shares your problems, joys, and wants. Real wisdom comes from not only knowing yourself, but also being able to go beyond your own boundaries and connect with the human experience as a whole. So, living with empathy is a way to grow your awareness. It's a way to try to see the world through someone else's eyes and act in ways that help everyone. Justice is another important part of Stoicism, but it's more than just the law or rules. It's also a social concept of fairness, of giving everyone what they deserve, and recognizing the worth and respect of every person. Being just means being honest and honorable in everything we do, from big decisions to small ones, and in how we treat those around us. It is the deliberate act of making the world a more fair, caring, and just place where everyone is valued and appreciated. Because of this, Stoicism tells us to understand our duty to others and to the world. It tells us that our freedom and growth as people are deeply connected to the health of the community. We can make our own lives better and improve society as a whole by practicing kindness and justice. So, let's follow the stern advice to live with humanity and justice, knowing that every act of kindness and understanding makes the world a better place for everyone. As we strive for virtue, let us remember that its real worth lies in its addition to the greater good, in its ability to see beyond oneself and see the humanity that runs through all of us. If we want to change, we need courage. Aristotle says that courage is the most important virtue because it is the foundation on which all other qualities of a person are built. Even though it doesn't come from Stoicism, it strongly connects with the ideas behind this philosophy. In Stoicism, as in Aristotle's, courage is seen not only as bravery in the face of danger, but also as resilience and drive to face internal challenges, to look within oneself, and to make the changes that are necessary for personal growth. When it comes to this situation, courage is what drives us to focus on ourselves, face our fears, get over our weaknesses, and go beyond the limits we set for ourselves. You have to be honest with yourself about who you are, what you need to change, and how you can grow. When we face great danger or act heroically, this kind of courage shines through. It also shines through in our daily lives, in the small decisions we make, the choices we make, and the sacrifices we make for our growth. Courage is the key that can open the door to full change. It forces us out of our comfort zones, questions the way things are, and encourages us to discover new parts of ourselves. When we have the courage, we can face our fears, accept our mistakes, and work hard to get rid of them. This is what makes us able to get back up after a fall, learn from our mistakes, and keep going with increased drive. Through the lens of Stoicism, courage can also mean keeping your ethics and virtue even when things go wrong. It means having the strength to stick to your values, even if it means making sacrifices or facing difficulties. The Stoic way of focusing on what we can control and accepting what we can't is based on this moral courage. It helps us make the changes we need to make inside ourselves to make our lives more in line with our greatest values. When you're in a busy world full of responsibilities and distractions that make it hard to hear your inner voice, reflection can help you grow. It can be a calm and clear place to be. This inward journey, whether started in the soft light of dawn or in the thoughtful silence of twilight, is a potent tool for ongoing self-improvement. When we read it, we are asked to stop, take a deep breath, and explore the depths of our thoughts and hearts with honesty, courage, and openness. Reflection every day, whether it's through meditation in the morning to get ready for the day's challenges and opportunities, or a review of conscience in the evening to think about what we did and how we felt, is an important part of growing as a person. Take a break from the busyness of everyday life to think about yourself. These times are not only good for you, but they are also valuable chances to reconnect with your core values, adjust your goals, and reset your inner guide. Setting clear, good goals for the day ahead can happen in a holy place created by morning meditation. It's a time to develop thanks for the blessings life provides, to improve our resilience in the face of hardship, and to foster thoughts and attitudes that represent who we strive to be. Our daily time with silence and inner peace gives us peace that flows through our day and makes us better people who connect with the world around them. On the other hand, a review of consciousness in the evening is just as good. It gives us a chance to think about what we did, enjoy our successes, and admit our mistakes so we can learn from them. This process of evaluating ourselves is essential for becoming more self-aware and encouraging positive changes in our actions and attitudes. Thinking about what we do and how it affects other people makes us more aware of our habits, which is the first step toward real and long-lasting change. Daily thought is also good for fighting off superficiality and spreading out. It shows us how to value depth and relationship and how to live a more purposeful life. We are investing in our health, our peace of mind, and our ability to make a good difference in the lives of those around us when we make time for this practice. Freedom through discipline. In our lives, where freedom and restriction are often tangled together, a strange but deeply freeing truth emerges. Discipline is the key to real freedom. At first look, it might not make sense, as if freedom and control were two forces competing for our lives. What we find out is that discipline is actually what real freedom is built on when we look into this relationship more deeply. Instead of just being a limit or a tight set of rules from the outside, discipline is a sign of self-control and independence. It means consciously aligning our wants, thoughts, and behaviors with our most important beliefs and long-term goals. We are not shackled by a harsh bond when we learn the art of discipline. Instead, we are freeing ourselves from the chains of recklessness, procrastination, and dispersion that keep us from reaching our full potential. Discipline gives us freedom that goes beyond outside situations because it lets us act not in response to outside forces, but because we choose to, in a way that is in line with who we are and who we want to be. Freedom means being able to say yes to things that make us better and no to things that make us worse. It also means being able to follow our hobbies with focus and drive and live a life that has purpose and meaning. Also, discipline frees use from the chains of habits and actions that hurt us. It helps us make our daily lives more clear and purposeful, so that every action we take is a choice for our own happiness and well-being. Discipline teaches us to be in charge of our own lives, to make good use of our time and energy, and to develop resilience in the face of difficulties. But getting better at this discipline takes time, effort, and most of all, kindness toward ourselves. When things go wrong, the urge to give in to instant wants will seem impossible to fight. But it's exactly in these times that real discipline shows up, not as a punishment, but as a soft reminder of our inner promises to ourselves. So, let's see discipline not as a way to hold us back, but as a way to freedom. It should be the guidance that leads us through life's storms and fogs, keeping us steady on our path to a more real, happy, and free life. May the control of our wants, thoughts, and actions be the key that opens the doors to real freedom, a freedom that isn't based on outside events, but on the honesty and purpose with which we choose to live each day. You can take the next step with us by joining our group. We are at a turning point where the road ahead is both difficult and lit by the hope of growth. It's realizing that many of the things we think are important to our lives actually take our attention away from what is truly useful and fulfilling. We can focus on developing inner traits like resilience, keenness, and wisdom when we separate ourselves from these outside forces. When we become detached, we don't give up on relationships or the good things in life. Instead, we rethink our goals and change how we relate to the world around us. It is a choice of where to put our attention and energy that we learn to ignore many things, to focus on building an inner peace and happiness that doesn't depend on outside factors. It means putting less weight on other people's opinions, social pressures, and the constant demands of shopping. As we move toward distance, we are forced to question what we think we know about happiness, success, and the meaning of life. It takes courage to face the pain that may come up when we let go of old habits and ways of thinking, but the reward is freedom like never before, the freedom to choose how to live based on our true values and a clear picture of what we really want and need. By practicing separation, we find a source of peace and happiness that never runs out. We learn to live with less stress by realizing that everything changes and finding joy in simple things and real connections with other people. Stoic philosophy has a lot of different layers and details, but at its core there is one truth that will always be clear: community and humanity. Even though the path to virtue and wisdom is unique to each person, we are not meant to take it by ourselves. Stoicism, in contrast to what some might think, emphasizes the value of treating others with compassion and justice. We are all connected and important parts of a bigger picture. This bigger picture is society, and its strength and beauty come from the different ways its members work together and contribute. In this situation, empathy isn't just being able to understand how someone else feels. It's also a call to action. It means seeing in someone else not a stranger, but a mirror of yourself, someone who shares your problems, joys, and wants. Real wisdom comes from not only knowing yourself, but also being able to go beyond your own boundaries and connect with the human experience as a whole. So, living with empathy is a way to grow your awareness. It's a way to try to see the world through someone else's eyes and act in ways that help everyone. Another important part of Stoicism is justice, which is more than just following the rules. It is based on the moral concept of fairness, which means giving everyone what they deserve and recognizing the worth and respect of every person. Being just means being honest and honorable in everything we do, from big decisions to small ones, and in how we treat those around us. It is the deliberate act of making the world a more fair, caring, and just place where everyone is valued and appreciated. Because of this, Stoicism tells us to understand our duty to others and to the world. It tells us that our freedom and growth as people are deeply connected to the health of the community. We can make our own lives better and improve society as a whole by practicing kindness and justice. So, let's follow the stern advice to live with humanity and justice, knowing that every act of kindness and understanding makes the world a better place for everyone. As we strive for virtue, let us remember that its real worth lies in its addition to the greater good, in its ability to see beyond oneself and see the humanity that runs through all of us. If we want to change, we need courage. Aristotle says that courage is the most important virtue because it is the foundation on which all other qualities of a person are built. Even though it doesn't come from Stoicism, it strongly connects with the ideas behind this philosophy. Stoicism, like Aristotle's philosophy, sees courage as more than just being brave in the face of danger. It also sees courage as the resilience and drive to face internal challenges, to look within oneself, and to make the changes that are necessary for personal growth. When it comes to this situation, courage is what drives us to focus on ourselves, face our fears, get over our weaknesses, and go beyond the limits we set for ourselves. You have to be honest with yourself about who you are, what you need to change, and how you can grow. When we face great danger or act heroically, this kind of courage shines through. It also shines through in our daily lives, in the small decisions we make, the choices we make, and the sacrifices we make for our growth. Courage is the key that can open the door to full change. It forces us out of our comfort zones, questions the way things are, and encourages us to discover new parts of ourselves. When we have the courage, we can face our fears, accept our mistakes, and work hard to get rid of them. This is what makes us able to get back up after a fall, learn from our mistakes, and keep going with increased drive. When it comes to Stoicism, courage also means being able to keep your ethics and virtue even when things go wrong. It means having the strength to stick to your values, even if it means making sacrifices or facing difficulties. The Stoic way of focusing on what we can control and accepting what we can't is based on this moral courage. It helps us make the changes we need to make inside ourselves to make our lives more in line with our greatest values. As a tool for growth, thought stands out as a calm and clear space in a busy world where constant noise from responsibilities and other things can overwhelm the inner voice. This inward journey, whether started in the soft light of dawn or in the thoughtful silence of twilight, is a potent tool for ongoing self-improvement. When we read it, we are asked to stop, take a deep breath, and explore the depths of our thoughts and hearts with honesty, courage, and openness. Reflection every day, whether it's through meditation in the morning to get ready for the day's challenges and opportunities, or a review of conscience in the evening to think about what we did and how we felt, is an important part of growing as a person. Take a break from the busyness of everyday life to think about yourself. These times are not only good for you, but they are also valuable chances to reconnect with your core values, adjust your goals, and reset your inner guide. Setting clear, good goals for the day ahead can happen in a holy place created by morning meditation. It's a time to develop thanks for the blessings life provides, to improve our resilience in the face of hardship, and to foster thoughts and attitudes that represent who we strive to be. Our daily time with silence and inner peace gives us peace that flows through our day and makes us better people who connect with the world around them. On the other hand, a review of consciousness in the evening is just as good. It gives us a chance to think about what we did, enjoy our successes, and admit our mistakes so we can learn from them. This process of evaluating ourselves is essential for becoming more self-aware and encouraging positive changes in our actions and attitudes. Thinking about what we do and how it affects other people makes us more aware of our habits, which is the first step toward real and long-lasting change. Daily thought is also good for fighting off superficiality and spreading out. It shows us how to value depth and relationship and how to live a more purposeful life. We are investing in our health, our peace of mind, and our ability to make a good difference in the lives of those around us when we make time for this practice. Freedom through discipline. In the complicated web of our lives, where freedom and restriction are often tangled together, a truth that is at once paradoxical and deeply freeing appears. True freedom comes from following rules. At first look, it might not make sense, as if freedom and control were two forces competing for our lives. What we find out is that discipline is actually what real freedom is built on when we look into this relationship more deeply. Instead of just being a limit or a tight set of rules from the outside, discipline is a sign of self-control and independence. It means consciously aligning our wants, thoughts, and behaviors with our most important beliefs and long-term goals. We are not shackled by a harsh bond when we learn the art of discipline. Instead, we are freeing ourselves from the chains of recklessness, procrastination, and dispersion that keep us from reaching our full potential. Discipline gives us freedom that goes beyond outside situations because it lets us act not in response to outside forces, but because we choose to, in a way that is in line with who we are and who we want to be. Freedom means being able to say yes to things that make us better and no to things that make us worse. It also means being able to follow our hobbies with focus and drive and live a life that has purpose and meaning. Also, discipline frees us from the chains of habits and actions that hurt us. In our daily lives, it helps us create a place of focus and purpose, where every action is a choice for our own happiness and well-being. Discipline teaches us to be in charge of our own lives, to make good use of our time and energy, and to develop resilience in the face of difficulties. But getting better at this discipline takes time, effort, and most of all, kindness toward ourselves. When we fail, we will want to give in to our immediate wants more than anything else. But it is exactly in these times that true discipline shows itself, not as punishment, but as a gentle reminder of our greater promises to ourselves. So, let's see discipline not as a way to hold us back, but as a way to freedom. It should be the guidance that leads us through life's storms and fogs, keeping us steady on our path to a more real, happy, and free life. May being disciplined in our wants, thoughts, and actions be the key to real freedom. Freedom that isn't based on outside events, but on the honesty and purpose with which we choose to live each day. Fake relationships can be hard to spot, just like it's hard to tell the difference between a mirage and an island in the vast desert of people. The world is full of meetings and mismatches, and people wear masks of friendliness and self-interest very well. It takes both instinct and a sharp eye to figure out who really cares about us. It's like a skilled gardener who knows the difference between plants that feed and plants that take nutrients from the earth. We trust other people too much sometimes, when all they're really doing is taking advantage of us. We need to learn how to tell the difference between people who care about us and those who are just trying to get what they want from us. Let's talk about some less obvious trends and small signs that show what people are really trying to hide when they smile and say nice things. You're here because you want to get better. Here, we'll talk about how to solve these problems with people and build relationships that are more real and rewarding. 15. Not doing what you say you'll do. It's a lot like going to the theatre. Words are the players, and actions are the plot that isn't read. These people are very good at getting people to agree with them. They use words to paint clear pictures of support and dedication. On the other hand, what they say doesn't always match up with how they act. They tell people what to expect, but when it's time for these plans to come true, they fail, which shows that they didn't mean what they said they would. Sometimes people in these types of relationships just leave when help is needed the most, or when they say they will do something, leaving a sad and empty space. When you need them, they're not there for you. This breaks your trust and shows you what they really want. They are lying to get you to believe them, give them money, or help them out without expecting anything in return. You can tell the difference between people who see relationships as two-way streets of mutual respect and support, and people who only see them as ways to get what they want by how often they break promises. When people are let down, they often learn a hard but necessary lesson. Not all vows are made with honesty and morality in mind. It is very important to look for people who break their promises if you think they might be trying to take advantage of you. Things people do reveal more about them than what they say, revealing what they really mean. People can handle the difficult world of relationships better and keep their trust and mental investment safe if they are aware of this trend. Number 14. Compliments that are rude or hurtful to other people. To get what they want, people who often use other people as stepping stones find it easy to insult them and bring down their self-esteem, confidence, and sense of self-worth. People say these mean things, but they seem like fun or nice talk. They're really mean insults that are meant to bring people down instead of pulling them up. If you have wins or goals, they might make fun of them or act like they don't care about or understand your difficult times. Being like this is like psychic warfare that you can't see. These people throw off the balance of the relationship by always putting less value on your goals and achievements. This is done on purpose by someone who wants you to keep having doubts about yourself and low self-esteem. This makes you easier for them to control and influence. They feel more important because you don't value yourself as much, which makes them more in control of the relationship. Also, rude people often say those things because they aren't sure of themselves and don't think they're good enough. They try to hide how weak they really are by putting other people down to make it look like they are stronger. This behavior makes it clear that they can't connect in a way that is healthy, helpful, and good for both of them. This pattern of behavior is very important to notice and understand because it helps you see through the thin charm that these people often put on and figure out what's really going on in the relationship. That is bad for you. To be safe, either talk to the person about their behavior and set clear limits, or stay away from a bad scenario like that. Number 13. Help for only one side. This can happen in different parts of a relationship, such as over money, feelings, or everyday things. People who use the service may take money or resources from others and say they will pay them back or reciprocate, but this could never happen. As people, they may count on each other a lot for support, praise, and care, but not give much back. People might regularly ask for help, time, or favors if the roles were switched in real life, but they would be absent or too busy when the other person needs help. When two live things are parasites, one gets better at the expense of the other. This unfairness is like that. Like a parasite, the user takes food from their host, in this case mental, financial, or physical support, without giving anything back to their host's health. Donating something without expecting anything in return can wear down the person who does it over time, leaving them empty and worn out. People who use others for their own gain usually do so because they are very selfish and don't care about other people. In this case, the person sees relationships as deals, judging them by what they can get from them instead of what they can give. This view of relationships is basically flawed because it doesn't value treating each other with respect, helping each other, and giving and taking. To spot this pattern, you need to be able to clearly see the ongoing lack of trade and the sense of being let down all the time in the relationship. To be honest, you have to say if the talks make you feel appreciated and important, or used and not important. 12. Don't worry about how you feel or what you want. If someone keeps ignoring or lowering their emotional environment, it's like taking care of a yard, but ignoring all the other flowers that want to grow. In this case, the user's needs and wants come first, and yours are ignored or pushed to the side. When they do or say something, it hurts your mental health and makes you feel like you're not an important part of the relationship. There are several ways that this lack of care can show up. It might be clear if they don't care about your mental needs and aren't there for you, or understand when you're weak or need help. This is clear when their story drowns out yours, and they don't care about what you think or decide. They might not notice what you've done well, or even worse, they might play down your problems by making fun of the things that are really hurting you. This isn't just careless. They're doing it on purpose to stay in charge of the relationship by making your wants and feelings seem less important. People who use this service make you feel bad about your own worth, which makes you easier for them to control and move. There is a small but powerful way to manage someone's feelings in this way. The worst thing about this situation is that it really hurts people's emotional health. Being known, heard, and accepted is very important. If you don't get these needs met, it can make you feel alone and lower your self-esteem, even if it looks like you have a partner. To get through this, you need to know how to spot the signs of mental abuse. This information will help you stay away from relationships that could be bad for your mental health. It gives you the strength to look for relationships based on care, respect, and giving and receiving. Number 11. Harassing people with your feelings. The person who is lying usually starts out slowly, acting like they care and are paying attention. When used on someone else, though, this mask quickly turns into a way to make that person feel worried, bad about themselves, or guilty. They are good at using your feelings against you by giving you compliments to feel good when it suits them, and then being very critical or putting you down when they want you to doubt yourself and rely on them. Think about what makes a gardener different from a weak plant. A good gardener knows how to take care of plants by making sure they get enough water and sun. That person who plays with your emotions is like a careless farmer who gives the plant too much water and then lets it dry out. To make people feel unsteady, they use strong feelings. This makes the target mentally dependent on the manipulator, always needing approval and support to feel good again. This kind of behavior is usually an attempt to find out more about someone's mental health. They might make your mistakes or wins seem big to keep you questioning your own skills. They could change the facts of the case to make you feel bad about doing normal things. They could also blame someone else, so you have to say sorry all the time. In relationships where someone is trying to scare you, the power dynamic is always off. The manipulator is in charge and decides when to show love and when to pull away, which throws off the target. There is no growth or support for each other. It's about giving in to the manipulator's needs at the cost of the other person's mental health. You need to be very aware of these things to spot mental manipulation. Part of it is noticing the patterns of exchanges that mess with your emotions over and over again. You have to look inside yourself to see how these interactions affect your mental health and sense of who you are. 10th, Not enough real help. Think of a tree in a huge forest. It would get food, protection, and conversation from the trees and weeds around it in a perfect world. This is a tree that stands alone in the desert. There are no other plants around to help or protect it. This is the same as being with someone who doesn't care about you. There is no one to help you, and you're on your own. Your branches are reaching out for company, but it never comes. People in these types of relationships don't care about your projects, goals, or problems, and only do small things to help you. This person could agree with your plans, wish you luck, or even say they support you, but what they do or don't do says more. They're not there when you need real help, helpful tips, or even just someone to talk to when things are tough. This kind of help is usually only on the surface, and more about how they look than what they do. It also goes away when it's needed the most. They are only thinking about themselves, so they don't really back you. All they care about are your problems or hobbies, your wins or losses, and how those things affect their own plans. To figure out how emotionally involved there is, they look at relationships through the lens of a deal, where possible personal gains are taken into account. This kind of person always gives, whether it's time, care, or resources, while the other person gets. This makes the giver feel ignored and seen. What kind of relationship do you have with that person? It's important to be aware of this lack of real help. You have to be honest with yourself about how much you give back in relationships. It's important to recognize this lack of support and do something about it if you want to spend your time and energy on relationships that are caring, good for both parties, and really helpful. 9. There's always competition. For example, imagine playing chess where every move is planned to both help yourself and hurt the other person over time. Also, a person who only wants to use you will probably treat your relationship like a game. They can show how much better they are with every move, choice, and even task you give them. These people act this way to stay ahead in this race they've set for themselves. They do this by making fun of your successes at work, going above and beyond your personal ones, or quietly sabotaging your choices. This never-ending battle shows up in a lot of different ways. They may try to steal your ideas or make you look bad at work or in meetings. When you're with them, they might play down your achievements or experiences while highlighting their own to make them seem more important. They always want to show that they're smarter, better, or more successful. People act this way even when they're just chatting because they're scared and have a skewed sense of self-worth, which means they think their worth comes from how much better they are than other people. The idea is that in every trade, someone has to lose in order for someone else to win. That someone is you in this case. In this way of thinking, the need to beat and overshadow is more important than getting better together. Being around someone who is always fighting with you can be hard on the mind. It makes the environment stressful and replaces real support or teamwork with competition. It's not that people are proud of your accomplishments. They see them as threats to their power. They don't feel sad for you. They see your troubles as chances to get ahead. It is very important to find and understand this trend. It helps you set boundaries and, if possible, change the relationship to one that is healthier and more helpful. To understand this, one must understand that love and support for each other, not a never-ending competition to be the best, are what make a relationship healthy. Number 8. Not being there when it's most important. This way of acting is like a tree that only provides shade when the sun is out. When clouds start to gather, the tree goes away. In good times, they are together, enjoying the light together, and maybe even getting something good from being together. However, they leave when things go badly or when you need help the most, leaving you to handle the storm on your own. These kinds of people see relationships as a way to get what they want, and they decide if they want to be in one based on how much it helps them. You can only count on their support on the surface. They only help when it helps them or gives them something to gain. You can tell when they're not there, whether it's a personal problem, a business loss, or mental turmoil, because they make it very clear what their true goals are and how much they don't care about the relationship. This kind of behavior can really hurt the person who is let down. It hurts the trust and reliability that people thought were important in the relationship, because it makes them feel cheated and let down. It makes you think about the relationship and the other person's place and value in your life. This helps you figure out what the relationship is all about and what the other person really wants. You need to know about this pattern. It means understanding that help that lasts through good times and bad is a key part of any deep relationship. You can tell the difference between people who really care about your well-being and those who are only in the relationship for their own gain when they aren't there for you when you need them the most. Seventh, not giving back. Picture a seesaw. One side is full of work, sacrifices and vows, while the other side is very light and hasn't done anything. That shows a bond that doesn't go both ways. This kind of connection means that both people regularly give time, energy, and feeling to the relationship to keep it going. On the other hand, the other person doesn't usually try very hard or at all. There are several ways that this difference in effort can show up. They might always be the one to start talking and making plans, even if you don't want to or aren't ready to commit. They might always be there for you and understand, but not always give you the same amount of help or care when you need it. People may be guarded and closed off when you are open and honest, even when you talk about your flaws and personal experiences. The reason for this lack of exchange is that people look at other people through the lens of themselves. The friendship is just a comfort for the person, something they can use when they need to, but not because they want to make a deep bond. What they do is planned and based on what will help them, not what the other person needs or wants. Sharing experiences and doing similar amounts of mental work are all parts of healthy relationships. This way of doing things goes against those ideas. You have to carefully watch how the link works to see that there is no back and forth. It means making sure that everyone is doing their fair share of the work to keep and grow the link and not letting one of you do too much. It wants you to be honest about how you feel about the relationship and say whether it feels good, bad, fair, or unfair. Sixth, talk and break your faith. It's like a sword with two sides. When you talk about someone behind their back, you give them a fake sense of trust and friendship. People in this group seem to trust each other, so they might seem to be telling you private things. But one side of the sword is much more dangerous than the other. It's when someone breaks your trust by telling other people private or sensitive information about you that you gave them in confidence. Not only is this a breach of trust, but it's also part of a plan to make you feel less safe and private in the relationship. This behavior clearly doesn't care about the safety of personal information or the limits of what can be kept secret. This person often acts as a source of information and talks a lot to get ahead in social settings. To get what they want, they share and change information to try to change people's minds, make deals, or even start fights. This kind of person sees relationships as functional, which means they see other people as means to an end, and private information as something that can be sold. These kinds of crimes hurt the person in many ways. It makes people feel unsafe and suspicious, which breaks down a relationship that could have been helpful and trustworthy. People's identities, relationships, and self-esteem can be hurt when personal information is misused, which can have mental and social effects. To stay safe from these types of relationship thieves, you need to figure out this pattern of behavior. It means being careful about what you tell other people and what you say about them when they're not around. The amount of privacy they protect and the number of times they spread stories about other people can tell you a lot about who they are and what they want. If you want to keep your pride and have your personal limits observed at all times, you need to be aware of this trend and do something about it. 5. Access that you choose. They're not free, but you are. This limited access makes it sound like there is only one person on the line at all times, like a phone line where only one person is always on call. Anyone can always count on you to listen, help, or back them in this case. Because they are open books, they can easily get to your schedule, your feelings, and your funds. But the other person's availability is as rare as a comet in the night sky. It comes and goes on its own terms. That's not at all how it is. They aren't just different because of busy schedules or different goals. It's a choice the person made, a smart move they made. Being unavailable helps them in two ways. It keeps them at a distance that works for them, and it gives them control. They make you want more by not being available all the time, and you'll be thankful for any time or care they do give you. People in these types of relationships will often give you reasons to wait or just ignore you when you try to connect or chat with them. Some people might not answer your calls, texts, or wants, might not be seen when they talk to each other. Most of the time, it's because it fits their needs or goals. If you only give them what they want, the connection stops being two-way, and you become more of a comfort. It's possible for this pattern to make you feel very bad. You start to question how important what you're doing and how important you are to them, which makes you feel bad about yourself. Feelings of annoyance and anger are present because you know that their hard work and availability are not valued. It is really important to know how limited access works. To do this, you have to step back and judge the relationship's mix of effort and availability without bias. It tells people that respect, hard work, and being there for each other are key to having good relationships. 4. Making you feel bad about yourself. Think of guilt as a puppeteer's string that pulls at good people's minds and pushes them in a path they might not want to go. Your sense of duty, humanity, or justice are being used against you by someone who is good at pulling these strings. If you say no, they might ask in a way that makes it look like you don't care or are being rude. Some people may also remind you of past favors or events, which could mean you still need to say something to them, as you may owe them something. People are often made to feel bad in this sneaky way. At first, they only want small gifts or breaks, but over time, they start to expect bigger things. You can't say no anymore because your limits are being pushed back. You feel stuck in a cycle of guilt and doing what you're told. The needs and wants of the other person come first, while yours are forgotten or pushed to the side. People want to be seen as good, helpful, and caring, and this is a big part of their nature. It works with this plan because it plays on that desire. These traits are turned into tools of control by the person who uses it. When someone makes you feel bad, you do things because you have to, not because you want to, or because you care about the other person. Most of the time, this makes you angry or tired. You need to be aware of when someone is using guilt to control you if you care about your own well-being and boundaries. It means being aware of how people are feeling and being able to tell the difference between genuine calls for help and people who are trying to take advantage of your kindness. You should also be brave enough to ask why people want you to do something and fight for your right to refuse without feeling bad about it. It's important to see and deal with this kind of manipulative behavior if you want to build better relationships based on respect, care, and choice instead of duty and guilt. 3rd, not being interested in you as a person. A talk is like a busy two-way street where thoughts, emotions, and feelings are always going back and forth. There are a lot of interested and caring people on this street. When you're with someone who only wants to use you, this street turns into a one-way road. Everybody talks about their own lives and experiences, and when you try to talk about yours, you often get off track or get stuck. This lack of drive shows up in a number of different ways. When you talk to these types of people, chats often feel like one-way rants that are dressed up as talks. They get excited when they talk about the little things that happen in their daily lives, their problems, and their successes. They want you to understand and care. But when they see you, they stop being interested. If you answer, they might quickly change the subject or nod, or they might act like they're not interested or are anxious. Things that happen to you don't seem to bother them much, no matter how big or small they are. They're not just being rude or not knowing how to talk to people. They're making a clear statement of their plans and goals. They make it seem like their wants, views, and life are more important than yours by taking over the talk and not caring about your stories. They are the center of attention, and you are only there to listen or give help. This is a mild form of egocentrism. When these things happen, they can have very sad results. When people don't feel understood and valued, they may feel like they don't matter and become angry. Over time, this mismatch could make you feel more like a part of their life than an equal partner. You should know that they don't care about you as a person. Part of this is being aware of how you connect with other people and how one-sided conversations make you feel. This means that the friendship should be examined to see if it is good for both people. You can look for better relationships where both of your stories and experiences are valued and respected once you know about this mismatch. Number 2. Being close. On the outside, it looks like the water at the top of a lake. It seems to have depth and substance at first glance, but upon closer inspection, it becomes clear that it does not. That's when someone might act like a close friend or a serious partner. They may laugh together, talk a lot, and even have what look like private conversations. On the other hand, this connection never really turns into meaning. This lack of real will can be seen in several ways. Some people are quick to enjoy the good parts of the relationship, but quick to pull away when they have to work hard or make sacrifices. People don't always have strong support when they need it. They may be there for parties and happy times, but not at all when things are bad or when you feel weak. You're not always able to trust and count on each other, which are important parts of real relationships. People often say they will do something, but then change their mind at the last minute. Most of the time, they decide when to start dating based on what's best for them and what's easy for them. Many people do this to keep a list of people they can call on when they need to, without having to deal with the emotional work that comes with real relationships. It keeps people close enough to help each other out, without being too close to expect each other to work together. When you're close to someone, you get the benefits of being close without the risk of real connection or duty. In a bond, it's important to be able to tell the difference between being close on the outside and really being close. When you feel close to someone, you should watch how they connect with others and ask yourself if their actions show real commitment and shared weakness. They want to know if the other person is putting an equal amount of mental effort into the relationship or if it's skewed toward getting what they want. Even though the two people seem close, the friendship isn't really based on trust or growth for either of them. Once you know this pattern, you can find and build relationships based on being honest, giving and receiving, and having real feelings. Number 1. Not always being respectful. This isn't just a bad choice or a quickly said thing that went wrong. It goes through the link like a thread that won't come out every once in a while. It appears in various ways. It could be through hurtful words or actions, or it could be just not caring about your feelings and boundaries. Feelings like this can be quiet, like a bunch of little cuts, or loud, like a big pride wound. Think of a garden where respect is the food that keeps relationships living. The land is empty and can't grow anything good because it's not there. When people don't respect and care about each other, it makes it hard to talk or connect. If someone doesn't value you, they may use this against you to control or rule the relationship, even if they aren't aware of it. It's a way to stay ahead in a place where everyone should be treated equally and with care. This rudeness that never stops rips the relationship apart. They turn into emotional battles where no one cares who dies, instead of places where people can work out their differences through understanding and kindness. Sometimes it's impossible to get back to a normal state of respect and trust when the regular ups and downs of relationships are thrown off. That is why it is very important to understand and see this pattern of disrespect. It means taking a look at more than one event to understand how people act in general. Respect isn't just big things we do. It's also the little things we do every day, like noticing when someone is doing a good job or getting into a fight. You can tell someone doesn't see you as an equal partner if they don't value you. They see you as a way to get something else. This lack of respect for your feelings and honor shows that the relationship is really out of whack and not healthy. People who value their own self-respect and want to be in relationships based on mutual respect and equality need to figure out this trait. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius put it, "The universe has changed our life, for it is what we think it is." Now it's time to start an interesting journey through the 12 global rules that govern our daily lives in a subtle but strong way. These rules are the hidden forces that shape our world, like the threads of fate that the Stoics talked about. Each one has a deep effect and can help us not only understand the world around us, but also get in tune with the beating heart of the universe. On this trip, we will learn how these rules can change the way you see things, raise your awareness, and lead you to a happier, more satisfying life. Things have brought you to this point by some outside force. Stay tuned as we work together to figure out these 12 laws of nature. A basic concept called the law of cause and effect says that everything that happens has a response that goes along with it. This idea dispels the idea that life is chance, pointing out that every action we take starts a chain of events. It's a reflection of the complicated link between what we do and what happens next, making us think very carefully about the decisions we make. By accepting this law, we move from just responding to the many things that happen in our lives to actively shaping our future. This law is a lighthouse that helps us see that we are not just pieces in the game of life, but rather the master builders of our own fate. When you understand that your choices and actions are the chisels and hammers that shape the art of your life, you can use it to really improve yourself. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca said, "We are more often scared than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." But this is exactly what the law means. It tells us that our actions, not outside events, can shape our reality. When we use this rule, we start to see things in terms of how they happen. Every decision we make and every step we take is a single stroke in the big picture of our lives. This understanding encourages us to take care of our lives and intentionally guide them toward our goals, which creates a responsible mindset. To understand that the seeds we plant today will grow into fruits we can pick tomorrow. These days, life is often chaotic and hard to plan, but the law of cause and effect reminds us that we have the power to change our path. As a result, it tells us not to act on emotion, but rather to think about what might happen after we do something. This rule isn't just an idea in philosophy, it's also a wise way to get through the complicated parts of life with purpose and meaning. When we internalize this rule, we learn to see problems not as problems to be solved, but as chances to shape our future. It shows us that our present situation is not random, but the result of what we did in the past, and that the decisions we make today will shape our future. This point of view is not only powerful, it's also life-changing, giving you a path to a life full of meaning and satisfaction. For the most part, the law of cause and effect is a wake-up call to live intentionally and thoughtfully. What it means is that we are invited to take charge of our own stories and use the power we have to shape our lives as we go through the ups and downs of life. Let us never forget that we hold the pen that writes our fate. The law of compensation, which is based on the ideas of fairness and balance, tells us that the world naturally tries to keep things in balance. This rule is not a way to punish people. Instead, it shows that the world wants unity and balance in all of its vastness. For every action, good or bad, there is an equal and opposite reaction. This makes sure that the scales of justice are always level. In the big picture of the world, time works on a different scale, and things often happen slowly and quietly. The law of compensation includes this part that reminds us to trust that life will go on as it should, and to always act in a good way. It tells us to be aware of the energy we put out into the world and make sure it matches the outcomes we want. This law makes it clear that our acts and the reasons we do them are both very important. It shows us that both factors play a big role in determining the results we see. Think about the story of a farmer who carefully plants seeds and makes sure they get the right amount of water and sunshine. Over time, the seeds turn into a bumper crop, showing how hard the farmer worked and what he or she wanted to achieve. In the same way, what we do and how we feel is like planting seeds in the world. The goods we get in life depend on how much care and thought we put into them. When we act in line with our greatest goals and ideals, we ask the world to do the same. This knowledge gives us a sense of peace and purpose by showing us that what we do in the world is part of a bigger, more peaceful exchange. People are encouraged by the law of compensation to think about their deeds and make sure they are good for the world around them. In the end, the law of compensation shows us how powerful balance and justice are in the world. To be aware of our deeds and goals and make sure they are in line with our core ideals, this is what it says. We can be sure that the world will react in kind, giving our lives a sense of balance and meaning. This knowledge is a useful lesson for everyone who wants to make their life better and make the world a better place. The law of rhythm, a deep principle that controls our lives, tells us that life will always go up and down. This law basically says that life follows a regular pattern with rounds of highs and lows, like how waves in the ocean move back and forth. It serves as a warning that life is basically a dance of forms coming together and falling apart, of growing and dying. Imagine that life is a big symphony with smooth changes between movements. The law of rhythm is like the director of the symphony, making sure that every note and beat fits in with the natural order of the world. This law tells us that just like the seasons change every year, our lives also change in predictable ways. It means realizing that life goes through regular cycles that affect everything from how we grow as people to how we connect with the world around us. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca said, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." This is what the law of rhythm is all about. It's a warning that in the big picture of life, every ending is just the start of a new one. This law tells us to go with the flow of life, knowing that for every high tide of happiness and success, there will be a low tide of thought and difficulty. It's not just an intellectual idea. The law of rhythm is also a useful way to live your life. It teaches us to be humble when things go well and resilient when things go wrong. It tells us that problems are often followed by chances, and that times of happiness are intermingled with times of reflection. We can handle the challenges of life more easily and peacefully if we understand and follow this pace. The law of rhythm is a source of security in our modern, fast-paced world, where the only thing that stays the same is change. It tells us not to fight life's natural changes, but to go with them like skilled surfers riding the waves. This law encourages us to accept all of life's stages, knowing that each one, whether it's happy or sad, is temporary and necessary for our growth. Finally, the law of rhythm is a strong warning of how things should be in the world. We learn to respect the beauty of life's cycles and understand that each stage, whether it's a time of growth or a time of difficulty, is an important part of our journey. When we accept this rule, we learn to go with the flow of life and find balance and peace in the way our lives are always changing. The law of relativity is a very important idea that tells us that the way we see things changes what is real. It whispers an old truth. Nothing in life is good or bad by nature. What makes it meaningful is how we see it. Epictetus, a Stoic, once said, "It's not what happens to you that matters, but how you react to it." When you're facing a mountain that seems impossible to climb, the law of relativity tells you to see it not as a problem, but as a part of your journey that is different from everyone else's. It's telling you to accept your problems as unique situations that are meant to help you grow. We learn how to change our minds about our problems by looking at them through the lens of growth and learning, not just as problems that we have to deal with. With Stoicism, this fits right in with the idea that we should focus on what we can control and let go of what we can't. The law of relativity is based on the idea that our power lies in how we perceive things. Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When we accept this law with calm and kindness, we can start to enjoy our success, no matter how small, without having to compare it to what other people are doing. We should respect our own unique road, which has its own set of challenges and successes because of this rule. Is a warning that everyone has a unique path, which is what makes life so interesting and full of different experiences. In addition, the law of relativity helps us understand that everyone is going through a difficult time. We learn more about other people and become more kind to them. This not only makes our relationships better, but it also makes us feel more fulfilled and true to ourselves in life. We feel more grounded and balanced when we follow this law. We learn to see the things that happen in our lives, not just as things that happen, but as chances to learn and grow. When you stop comparing things and start thinking about yourself and your growth, you change your attitude. Remember the law of relativity as you go through the ups and downs of life. Let it lead you to a place where you can understand and accept other people and yourself. You'll feel more at peace and like your life has a reason if you accept your journey with all of its unique challenges and successes. Another Stoic philosopher, Seneca, said, "Life is like a play. It's not the length that matters, but the excellence of the acting." Your journey is your own custom-made play, and its quality depends on how you choose to understand and act in it. The law of perpetual transmutation is a deep concept that controls our lives. It tells us about how energy in the world is always changing. Energy is always changing forms, and this law shows us how dynamic energy is. It also gives us a powerful picture of how flexible the forces around us and inside us are. Think of this rule as a flashlight that shows you the way to understanding how flexible energy really is. It means that the forces in our lives, like our feelings and thoughts, are not set in stone, but can change. This is a very important understanding because it gives us the power to change the energy around us. By deciding to be positive and hopeful, we can change the energy around us, which will have an effect on our surroundings and the things we do. This law is a good lesson of how much power we have over the energy we send out and receive. What we can do with energy is more important than the energy itself. Our feelings and thoughts are not just mirrors of what is happening to us. They are strong tools that can change our world. We can transform our inner desires into attainable goals by utilizing this energy with a positive frame of mind. Take a look at the story of a farmer and his yard to see what I mean. The farmer, who stands for our brains, takes care of different plants that represent our feelings and thoughts. We take care of our thoughts with attention and mood. just like a farmer takes care of plants by giving them water and sunshine. If the farmer only cares about the weeds, they will grow quickly and hide the pretty flowers. In the same way, if we think about bad things, they will get stronger and take over our minds. But if the farmer pays attention to the flowers and takes good care of them, they will grow and make the yard a bright oasis. In the same way, if we think optimistic thoughts and feed them positivity and hope, they will grow and change our lives for the better. This story shows us how important it is to keep in mind where our energy goes. Focusing on good feelings and thoughts can be like planting a field of happiness that can change our lives. Finally, the law of perpetual transmutation is a strong warning that we have the power to change the energy around us. When we know that our thoughts and feelings are changing energies, we can consciously move them in a good direction. This then makes it possible for us to bring our dreams to life. Clearly, this story shows us that by focusing on good thoughts and feelings, we can improve our lives and make them more in line with our greatest hopes and dreams. Remember that the energy you focus on shapes your reality, so be smart about what you choose and let happiness guide you. The next thing we'll talk about is the deep and interesting law of correspondence, which connects our inner world to the outside world. This law, which is one of the 12 universal laws that rule our lives, beautifully shows how our inner thoughts, feelings and beliefs are not only reflected in the outside world, but are also deeply connected to it. Imagine that this rule is like a mirror that shows not only how we look, but also what we really think and feel. Discovering a deep and real link is more important than just finding commonalities. The law of correspondence tells us that the thoughts and beliefs we hold inside have a strong tendency to show up in our outside events and surroundings. It's like the artist is inside of us, and the outside world is the paper that our feelings and thoughts are painted on. This theory tells us to look at our views, attitudes, and regular ways of thinking very carefully. It serves as a warning that our inner world is not a separate island, but is strongly linked to the huge ocean of our events in the outside world. When we learn this, we can start to see how powerful we are and how we can change the world around us. Think about the story of a gardener and his garden. How the gardener thinks and feels about his garden affects how he takes care of it. If he thinks of it as a job, the garden shows it. But if he looks at it with love and desire, the garden grows. This metaphor is like the law of correspondence, in that it shows how our inner state affects the outside world. Now, let's look at what the Stoics said about this idea, which they knew hundreds of years ago. The great Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This quote fits perfectly with the law of correspondence because it says that we can change the quality of our lives by thinking good, helpful thoughts. As we look into this rule, it's important to keep in mind that it's not about judging ourselves for everything that happens in the outside world. Instead, it's about realizing how our actions affect our feelings and using that knowledge to create a good setting inside ourselves. By doing this, we can start to see changes in the outside world that match the growth and happiness we feel inside. In the end, the law of correspondence is a strong warning of how our inner and outer worlds are linked. It tells us to keep an open mind about our ideas and thoughts, because they have the power to change our world. This law should be close to our hearts as we go through life. We should use it as a tool to create a good inner world that shows up beautifully in our outer experiences. Remember that what's inside is what's outside. Let this be our theme as we learn the law of correspondence and, in turn, how to live a good life. A simple but deep idea called the law of action can help us reach our goals and make our dreams come true. It's a simple truth. If you want to change your life, you have to do something. Like a soft push, this rule makes us want to make our thoughts come true. What matters is not how fast we do things, but what they are for and where they are going. Think of this law as a small stream of water that doesn't seem important at first, but slowly cuts through the hardest rocks. This story uses metaphor to show how powerful small, regular acts can be. At first, they might not seem important, but like a stream, they build strength and speed, finally changing things in big ways. Instead of big jumps, we'll be taking slow, steady steps toward our goals. This idea also shows us how important it is to stick with something even when it gets hard. Any work you do is a step forward, no matter how small. It teaches us resilience and patience while also telling us that everything we do and everything we try adds up to the big picture of our goals. Think about the story of the bamboo tree. It doesn't grow at all after it's planted for years, but in the 5th year, it only takes 6 weeks for it to grow to 80 feet. This story shows how important it is to keep going and believe in what you're doing. The bamboo tree may have grown quickly, but it has been getting care and attention for years. In the same way, the things we do in our lives might not always have instant effects, but if we are patient and keep at it, they can lead to huge growth. Overall, the law of action serves as a warning that we can achieve our goals and dreams as long as we are ready to act. We can't just wish for things to change. We have to work for them. We can make the life we want by consistently taking small steps toward our goals. Therefore, let us answer the call to action, take care of our lives, and start the path to making our dreams come true. Keep in mind that what counts is not the size of the deed, but the will and purpose that went into it. In the same way, the things we do, even if they don't show effects right away, set us up for future success. In the end, the rule of action tells us that we can reach our dreams and goals by taking consistent, full moves. It's a lesson to respect every effort and know that big things are often made up of many small, steady steps. As we never get through life, let this law be our guide, pushing us to act, keep going, and believe in the slow but steady path to our dreams for those who want to make their lives better. Take this law to heart, let your deeds speak for themselves, and watch as your efforts slowly change the world. We can learn the deep truth of balance in life from the law of polarity, a concept that runs through everything we do. This global law says that there is a natural balance between things that seem to be in complete opposition to each other, like light and dark, happiness and sadness, and success and failure. That these differences are not just opposites, but rather parts of a bigger whole that work together and enhance each other. Think of the law of polarity as a dance of cosmic duality. Each step, whether it's forward or backward, is important for the dance to flow smoothly. This law doesn't just say that differences exist. It goes deeper and shows how they work together in a way that most people don't see. It shows us that even when two things seem to be at odds with each other, there is actually a greater link between them, a thread that holds them together in a silent dance of life. For example, we look at how times of great suffering can often lead to big changes in our lives. There are times when we face tough situations that shape and improve our character. In the same way, the best joys often come after big problems are solved. When we look at things from this angle, we can enjoy the beauty in life's balance and know that every event, good or bad, adds something special to our lives. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, said, "The time will come when careful research over long periods of time will bring to light things which now lie hidden." This is similar to the law of polarity in that it tells us to look deeper to find wisdom and understanding in life's duality. To show how this idea relates to our modern lives, we look at how failure is often seen as the opposite of success in the workplace. With the law of polarity, on the other hand, we can see that failure is not just the opposite of success. It's also an important part of it. Failure is how we gain new ideas, learn and grow, which leads to success in the end. In our daily lives, this law tells us that it's good to keep a fair view when we face problems or losses. Remind yourself that these problems are not just problems, they are chances to learn and grow. In the same way, when you are happy or successful, think of those times as benefits for your resilience and tenacity. In the end, though, the rule of polarity is a strong warning of how everything in life is linked. It teaches us to accept the two sides of life, to find balance and difference, and to see the secret links that combine all of our events into a whole that makes sense. We can live a life of greater knowledge, balance, and resilience if we understand and follow this law. We can use every experience, no matter how good or bad it seems, as a springboard for our own development and illumination. This simple but deep rule is based on the idea that forces that are similar are drawn to each other. The idea behind it shows a basic truth. The energy you give off, whether it's good or bad, has a big effect on the things that happen to you. Think of your emotions and thoughts as strong forces that pull things to you that are similar to what they are. This law goes beyond positive thinking and shows how powerful your mind can be in attracting the situations you want to happen. If the seeds of lack and negativity are planted in your mind, like seeds in a field, don't be surprised when they grow and spread in your life. You can also create a mental space full of thoughts of wealth and happiness, which will help you draw more of these things. This method doesn't mean ignoring the problems in life. Instead, it means picking a point of view that fits perfectly with your values and goals. You have to steer the ship of your life on purpose, not by chance. If you believe in the law of attraction, it's like releasing a powerful tool that lets you create a life that fits your inner desires. It serves as a stark warning that our inner world has a huge impact on the outside world. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca said, life is like a play. It's not the length that matters, but the quality of the acting. When it comes to the law of attraction, this means that how we think and feel has a big impact on how our lives play out. You are not just floating in the sea of life if you understand and follow this law. Instead, you are actively plotting your course, using the inner map to guide you. It's about realizing that we don't have control over everything in our lives, but we do have control over how our energy makes them. When you think about the law of attraction, ask yourself, what kind of energy am I sending out into the universe? Am I focusing on things that help me reach my goals? Remember that the world is like a mirror. It reflects back the energy you put out into it. When you understand this law, you're not only gathering experiences, you're also making your life represent your deepest wants and values. To put it simply, the law of attraction is not just an idea that you should understand. It's a way of life that you should follow. What it means is that you should match your thoughts with your dreams and make your hopes and dreams come true. As you go through this path of change, you take charge of your life and make it both satisfying and a testament to the power of your thoughts and feelings. Keep in mind that you are the author of your life story, and that you write each chapter with the pen of your thoughts and the ink of your feelings as you follow this law. In this part of our trip, we explore the deep and mysterious world of the law of vibrations. We imagine the universe as a huge, moving, cosmic symphony, with every part, from the smallest atom to the biggest star, contributing to a never-ending rhythm of harmony. Nothing is ever still according to this rule. Everything is always moving and giving off its own energy or frequency. Every sound and beat fits in with the rest of the group, like in a big orchestra. Picture yourself as a musician in this universal orchestra. Your thoughts, feelings, and actions are the notes you play, and they all send out vibes that bring other energies that are similar to them to you. The law of energy says that things that are similar will draw things that are similar. It's a strong warning that you have the power to change your own energy and, by extension, the energy of those around you. Think back to a time in your life when things weren't going so well. The law of energy says that you can change your events by changing your emotional state. The point is not to reject reality, but to accept it and choose to hum at a level that matches your goals and dreams. At the atomic and molecular levels, there's a buzz of activity, a dance of particles that shows a huge network where everything affects everything else. This is important to remember even when things seem still. The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it, the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said. When you think about things with calm knowledge, they can have a big effect on your life by lining up with the feelings that are true to who you are. Remember that you are an important part of this global music as you go through life. No matter if your emotions are from happiness, love, sadness, or hope, they add to the common song. By carefully aligning your emotions with patterns that make you feel good and excite you, you not only improve your own life, but you also make the rhythm of existence better for everyone. By its very nature, the law of waves tells us that everything is linked and that we have the power to change this dynamic. It tells us to be aware of our lives, pick our thoughts and actions carefully, and align ourselves with the forces that make us and those around us better. As you accept this law, let it help you make a life full of happiness, meaning, and peace, in line with the timeless knowledge of Stoicism and the laws that govern all existence. Being old is just a number. It doesn't stop us from changing. As long as the river keeps running, so does our chance to make a change. This is what the idea of the power of now means. Time always gives us new chances to go in a different direction. People who believe in Stoicism like this idea because it reminds us that it's never too late to make big changes in our lives. A new beginning always comes after the end of an old one. Because they repeat wise words by Seneca, these words remind us of how strong growth and change can be. In this light, we should understand that life has stages and that death is both the end and the beginning of something new. Seeing things this way helps us stay positive and strong when things change. We know that every ending, no matter how bad, can lead to something good and new. People often think that the best time to learn and grow is when they are young, so it's easy to believe that once we reach a certain age, our chances to change and grow are gone. Would you believe us if we said it was always possible to start over, learn new things, and make things better? Sometimes our old habits and our hopes for the future go in different directions as we go through life. Being silent is the best way to find your way forward when you feel like you can't go back. A lot of older people feel like they don't have as many chances as they used to. Stoicism, a way of thinking that has roots in ancient Greece and Rome, gives us a different view. There are many things that can happen in life at every stage, and every moment is a chance to start over. Stoics think that the mind can change things, no matter what age or situation you are in. Marcus Aurelius said, "The universe changes. Our life is what our thoughts make it." Stoicism is not just a view, it's also a way of life. Its ideas are still important today, even though Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius wrote them a long time ago. This way of thinking teaches us to focus on what we can change, to separate ourselves from the effects of other people's actions, and to find inner peace and resilience in the face of the changes and challenges that life brings. You have a lot of power when you think this way, especially when you want to learn new things and change. Let's go on this trip together. Don't forget that it doesn't matter where you are from or how old you are. You need to be ready to live in the present, use the power of now, and take big steps toward learning and growing all the time. This is what the Stoics said that can help you get through the rough seas of change. Also, let's talk about how you can always start over and reach your full potential. Today, we're going to talk about how you can always change, get better, take on new tasks, and start over. Join us as we learn the lessons of Stoicism that will help you learn and grow throughout your life. In our first lesson, we'll talk about how powerful the present moment is. First lesson, savor the present. To learn how to be patient, the first and most important thing you need to do is enjoy the present moment. Seneca said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without worrying about the future." This is what makes us want to keep learning and growing. Socrates says that time is not a straight line, but a collection of present moments that we live and act in. Our power is now. You can't change the past, and it's hard to tell what will happen in the future. We can then be in charge and act in the present. As you start over today, you may feel bad about missed chances or scared about what the future holds. Stoicism, on the other hand, tells us to look at every day as a new beginning. Tell yourself that you can start over, learn something new, or break a bad habit when you wake up. It's not just kids who can think this way. Anyone can use this age-old idea. Steps you can take to live in the present. 1. Mindful awareness. Do something mindful first thing in the morning. As you sit still, pay attention to your breath. Don't worry about the past or the future. Pay attention to the present. 2. Today is a new day with a chance to learn and grow. Tell yourself this every morning. Say, "Today I am a learner. Today I embrace new beginnings." 3. Pick a small skill or thing you want to learn. Something as simple as reading a chapter, taking 15 minutes to learn a new language, or making a new dish. The most important thing is that it is true and takes place in the present. If you want to be strong for life, you should learn to see the present as a place where you can grow and change. It means seeing every day as a new page in your life book, where you can start writing a new story. There is a strong lesson in Stoicism that says we should start changing and learning in the present. This lesson should be read no matter what page you are on. Your path to more growth and development starts with how you think and act right now. Do not miss this chance. You can always learn, grow, and change. The second lesson is to be strong when things get tough. Stoicism is based on the idea that bad things will always happen to you and that life is full of surprises. Emperor Marcus Aurelius was known for being very calm. He said, "What stands in the way becomes the way." This lesson is about turning problems into chances, which is a key way of thinking for anyone who wants to learn new things and get better, but especially as they get older. As a teacher, trouble. Stoics don't see issues as issues, but as lessons that are valuable to be learned. Every time you face a challenge, you can put your patience, bravery, and resilience into practice. There will be times when you have trouble as you try to learn or get used to something new. Instead of seeing these as mistakes, see them as chances to learn and get better. Choose to be uncomfortable. One way to build resilience is to choose to be uncomfortable. In this case, getting out of your comfort zone might mean doing something scary or taking on a job that you find hard. Being able to deal with pain is something you should work on because it will help you learn everything. You can start building your resilience right away by 1. Every day, push yourself to leave your comfort zone in a small way. You could start a conversation about something you don't know much about, start a new hobby, or learn a new language. 2. Every day, think about the things you've done well in the past. Take some time to remember the problems you've fixed in the past. This thought gives you more strength in your belief that you can handle problems in the future. 3. If you have a growth mindset, you believe that your skills and knowledge can get better if you work hard and stick to your goals. This approach promotes resilience and a love of learning as you start to see issues as opportunities to learn and grow. 4. It can help you see things better if you write in a book every day. Not only write down your problems, but also how you handle them. Looking at how you've dealt with problems in the past helps you see things in a new light. Browse through your old posts to see how you've grown and changed. As a Stoic, you should think about yourself every day. This helps you remember what you've learned and get ready for new things. 5. Setting aside time for prayers that focus on resilience for the Stoic is a good idea. Think about the duality of control, which means figuring out what you can and can't manage. When you think about the things you can change, like your actions, reactions, and thoughts, you have more strength to deal with issues. You will also feel less stressed about things going on in the outside world when you do this exercise. This will make you more flexible. Take the Stoic view that everything changes, even the hard things. This will help you be more resilient when you're having a hard time learning new things or getting used to changes. Every problem can be turned into a chance to learn something, and every loss can be used to make you a better person by asking yourself, what can this teach me? This is part of the Stoic practice of building resilience through pain. No matter what age you are, you can learn new things with confidence and a sense of purpose if you are willing to face challenges and see them as opportunities to advance your knowledge and strength. Always keep in mind that what matters for your growth is not what happens to you, but how you handle it. Now that you've learned this second lesson, you have another strong conservative tool that will help you deal with change and keep learning all your life. Don't miss out on the next lesson. It will help you change and grow no matter what age you are. Third lesson, get to know yourself and talk to yourself. Self-reflection. Stoicism tells us that it's important to know ourselves and keep looking at ourselves through our own thoughts and experiences. In Meditations, Marcus Aurelius wrote about how to do this. The point of this lesson is to help you learn more about yourself, which is a big part of growing as a person. Stoics believe that getting to know yourself is a big part of learning because it helps you grow as a person. Being aware of your thoughts, feelings, and actions will help you see what you're good at and what you need to work on. When you're trying to learn new things or deal with change, getting to know yourself better is helpful because it helps you make better decisions and see problems more clearly. Take time every day to think about and study your actions and thoughts. This is called thoughtful self-examination. With this method, you can check if the things you do are in line with your values, spot habits that aren't helping you, and consciously change the way you behave. Steps you can take to become more self-aware. 1. Every day, take a few minutes to think about what you did, what you felt, and what you thought. You could ask yourself things like, did I act in line with my values today? Or, what emotions did I feel today and why? 2. Mindful response. Work on this when you need to decide what to do or say something. Think about what you want to do for a second. This helps you plan what you're going to do instead of just doing it without thinking. 3. Give and receive feedback. Regularly ask trusted friends, family, or co-workers for feedback. Taking an outside look at yourself can help you understand parts of yourself that you may not be aware of. 4. As you read and think about philosophical texts, don't just read and think about Stoic texts. Read and think about philosophical texts from other schools of thought as well. Think about how these ideas match up with what you already know and believe. By giving you more information, this makes your view of life and learning more complete. 5. Stoic thought tasks include view from above, in which you imagine looking at your life from a distance. This game helps you get a bigger, more objective picture of what you do and how it affects other people. Stoic techniques like self-awareness and self-examination can help you learn more about yourself and find your way through lifelong learning. Think about your feelings, deeds, and thoughts often, and ask other people to give you feedback. This will help you figure out who you are. No matter what part of life you're in, This can help you learn, change, and get better. As you learn more about these methods and use them, your learning journey can be more thoughtful, focused, and fulfilling. The fourth lesson is to choose the virtue of restraint. Stoics say that two of the most important traits are moderation and self-control. In every part of your life, you need to use moderation, balance, and self-control to be moderate. It's important to learn new things and grow as a person, especially as we get older and deal with life's difficulties. This lesson is all about that. Stoicism says that any kind of excess can throw life off balance and into chaos, whether it's too much focus on one thing or too much mental pleasure. This is why temperance is important for learning. In general, it can make learning and life less fun. To sum up, temperance means finding a good balance and making sure that our goals, like learning new things and getting better at things we already know, are in line with living a full and happy life. Things you can do right now to become more temperate. 1. When you eat, watch TV, or read, keep your mind present. You should ask yourself every day if the food you eat is making your life better or worse. Set some limits. 2. Limit what you can learn. If you want to keep from getting burned out, you should set limits on how much you can learn. You should plan to learn new things, rest, and do other things at certain times. 3. Pay attention to what you want and what you do. Make sure your deeds and wants are in line with each other often. Do you believe that something is taking too much of your time? What are your wants that are making you do bad things? When you think about yourself, you can see things more clearly. 4. To keep things in balance, do a lot of different things. Do many different things. Think about things a lot. Do something creative or active to take your mind off of things. This method is good for your health and helps you keep learning. 5. A lot of no's. That means you can say no to some things, like chances, requests, or even your own wants. This keeps you from agreeing or giving up too much and helps you keep your mind on what's important. To live a healthy and self-controlled life, you need to learn how to be temperate and then practice it. It makes sure that the way we look for skills and knowledge is useful and fits in with our other goals. We can keep our learning and lives in balance by keeping an eye on our spending, setting limits, thinking about what we want, doing a range of things, and learning to say no. With age comes the need to deal with life's challenges with wisdom and calm. This Stoic virtue is an important part of a complete and well-rounded personal growth path. 5th lesson, learn to be thankful. Pay attention to being thankful. A big part of being silent is being thankful. Being happy is a big part of growing as a person and learning new things throughout your life. This lesson is all about that. To keep a strong, open mind and stay upbeat, we should think about and be grateful for what we have instead of whining about what we don't have. As we age, this is even more true. As part of the Stoic mindset, it is important to live in the present and value what we have right now. Our memories, knowledge, relationships, and even our problems are all part of this. We can't see or touch them, but they help us grow. Not only does being thankful make us feel better, it also makes us more willing to learn and grow as people. Right away, you can do these things to show thanks. 1. Every day, write down 3 things you're grateful for. This can help you start or end the day. A nice day, a good book, or the chance to learn can be all of these. You will start to notice what you do have instead of what you don't have when you do this. 2. Challenges are chances to get better. Think about what your problems can teach you and how they can help you get better. Once you see things in this new way, you can stop being angry at problems and start being grateful for the lessons they teach you. 3. As you learn and grow, enjoy the little wins. Don't forget to enjoy the little things you do well. This praise makes you want to grow even more and thanks you for your growth. 4. Thank other people. Thank people who are important to you often, like family, friends, and mentees. Being aware of how they've affected your life can help your relationships and make you feel more grateful. 5. Meditations by Stoics on changelessness. Keep a calm mind and think about how things and life will change over time. You will feel grateful for a long time after doing this activity because it makes you value what you have more. 6. Enjoying the present moment with awareness. Remember to enjoy and be aware of what you're doing and where you are throughout the day. When you do this awareness exercise, you become more aware of the present moment and feel thankful. The Stoics say that learning to be thankful can change your life and help you grow mentally and emotionally. Being thankful helps you see the value in every moment, every challenge, and every chance to learn. This way of doing things not only makes you feel better, but it also lets you learn and grow more as you go through life. You can go through life with a heart full of thanks and a mind open to change if you practice being thankful. The 6th lesson is to be mindful and aware of the here and now. Mindfulness and present moment focus should be cultivated in your daily life. Stoicism and mindfulness are two different schools of thought, but they both stress living in the present. Using mindfulness methods in daily life can help you reach your Stoic goals of peace and wisdom. This is especially important as you continue to learn and grow in life. Mindfulness and Stoicism complement each other well. One thing that both Stoicism and mindfulness teach us is to live in the present and be more aware of our thoughts, feelings, and actions. We don't have to act on instinct when we're in this higher state of awareness. Instead, we can deal with life's problems with calm and understanding. Simple things you can do to become more mindful. 1. Every day, do some focused breathing. It's a simple way to start or end the day. As you breathe in and out, pay attention to how it feels. Bring your mind back if it wanders. It clears your mind and brings you into the moment. 2. Each day, take some time to really look around you with your mind. This is known as careful observing. Being aware of the little things in a place, like how something feels or the sounds of nature, might be enough. Getting better at being fully present is what this training does. 3. When you listen mindfully, you give your full attention to the person speaking without planning what you will say next. By practicing mindfulness every day, you can become more aware of the present moment and deal with problems in life in a calm and understanding way. We need to remember this as we learn and grow throughout our lives. Being aware of and mindful of the present moment can help you live a fuller, more worthwhile life. Finally, Stoicism can teach us important lessons that can help us deal with the difficulties of life and keep learning and growing no matter what age we are. We can live more important and rewarding lives if we accept the power of the present moment, are resilient in difficult times, get to know ourselves, practice balance, are thankful, and practice awareness. Stoicism is not just a set of ideas, it's also a way of life that can help us be wise and have a purpose in life. So let's learn from these lessons in Stoicism and keep going on our path of learning and growing. This makes your friendship stronger and helps you listen better. 4. Body scan meditation. Do body scan meditation every day. Take it easy on each part of your body as you lie down or sit down. Being in the present moment and being more aware of how your body feels is what this does. 5. If you want to learn how to be thoughtful, make it a habit to eat every day. Take your time when you eat and enjoy the tastes and textures of your food. Also, remember that it is feeding you. This habit makes you more thankful and aware of what's going on around you every day. 6. Time to think during the day. Take short breaks to think about what you're thinking and how you feel. You should accept them without judging them. Then, slowly turn your attention back to the task at hand. Being aware all the time is easier if you make this a habit. The ability to use one's mind to make good choices. Becoming more aware when making choices is one of the most important ways that the Stoic theory can be used. Read about Stoicism to learn how important it is to use your mind and be careful when making choices. Being aware about what you're thinking before you make a choice can help you make sure that it fits with your values and long-term goals. Adding mindfulness to your daily life can help you get further along your Stoic path of peace and wisdom. Being mindful helps you fully experience each moment, which makes learning more meaningful and full. It gives you the strength to stay calm and understanding when bad things happen in life. Being mindful can help you grow as a person and learn new things throughout your life. The choices you make can have a big impact on your progress as you learn and grow. This is especially true when it comes to learning and personal growth. You can be more aware when making choices by doing these easy things. 1. Take a deep breath and think about what you want to do before you decide. Do this every time you need to make a big choice. That gives you time between the event that sets off the response, letting you make a better choice. 2. Think about what you want and what you value. Think about how each option fits with your views and long-term goals. Check, does this choice lead me towards the person I aspire to be? 3. Have a look at the long-term effects. As you make your choice, don't just think about what will happen in the short term. Also think about what will happen in the long term. This helps people think ahead, which is a skill that is useful for learning throughout life. Improving your thoughtful resilience in the face of hardship. Another important skill for Stoics who want to find inner peace and grow as people is resilience. Mindfulness is a key part of growing resilience. Keeping an open mind when things go wrong teaches you how to handle issues without getting upset. When you know this, you can act calmly and logically instead of letting your emotions run your life. In real life, here are some ways to practice mindful resilience. 1. Recognize and name how you feel. Sometimes when you're having a rough time, you should stop and name your feelings. It keeps you from acting on your feelings because you are aware of them. 2. Pay attention to your breath when you're stressed. If you want to bring yourself back to the present, this simple habit can help you feel calmer and smarter. 3. Writing about problems with reflection. Regularly write down what you think and feel about the issues you're having. This can help you see patterns in how you handle issues over time and pick more considerate responses. Practicing focus every day can help you live a more calm life. Mindfulness practice makes you more aware of the present moment, which helps you learn and live with a calm, focused, and open mind. Anyone of any age can reach a state of peace and knowledge that is important for personal growth and effective learning. If you want to keep learning and getting better, these habits will help you do that. They will also help you deal with life's problems in a calm and mindful way. Lesson 7. Show care and understanding by being kind and understanding. You can bond with and understand other people better. Stoicism, which is frequently thought to encourage emotional distance, actually makes people more caring and understanding. These traits are necessary for personal growth, understanding others, and making deep links in the area of ongoing learning. We can learn from both our own and other people's situations and points of view, which makes our lives better. Stoicism and the obligation to provide. Stoicism shows us how important it is to understand that we are all human and to view things from others' perspectives. You can deal with other people better when you have this kind of understanding. This is important for both personal and professional growth. We are more open to new events and points of view when we have empathy. This helps us learn and understand the world better. Things you can do right now to become more kind and understanding. 1. Paying attention. Listen to what other people have to say. As someone talks, pay close attention and try to see things from their point of view. Do not judge or answer right away. This shows that you value and care about what they feel and think. 2. Getting along and understanding. Try to put yourself in someone else's shoes when you talk to them. To do this, you may need to think about their past, what they've been through, and how they're feeling, and then be kind and understanding. 3. Giving back to the community and volunteering. Do things for free in your neighborhood. Things like this can help you understand different scenarios better, see things from a different point of view, and become more aware and kind. 4. Writing in a diary to process social events. Take notes about the people you see every day. Write down times when you felt very close to or far away from other people, and then think about why that was. Being more aware and understanding how your mind works are both helped by this. Stoics thought about how everyone is the same. Take a moment to think about how everyone is connected in a staunch way every day. Know that you are all part of a bigger group and that everyone needs to be kind and understanding to get along. Being mindful and in charge of your feelings when you're with other people. When you are aware of your thoughts, keep them in mind. Instead of moving without thinking, you can answer with care and understanding. Getting better at understanding by accepting differences. It can help you understand and care about other people by learning about their ideals and ways of life. Stoicism teaches us to see things from different angles, which helps us understand other people better. This touch helps us understand things more deeply and honestly by broadening our views and putting our beliefs to the test. Things you can do right now to be open to differences. 1. Learn about other countries and ways of life. You can read books, watch movies, travel, or talk to other people to learn about countries and practices that are different from your own. You'll be able to understand and care about more people when you do this. 2. Do things where people from different backgrounds can meet and talk about their cultures. Join groups or events that do this. Going to talks and events can help you learn about how other people live and think. 3. Take a look at your own views. Take a lot of time to think about and question your own biases and beliefs. You need to be aware of your flaws and work on them if you want to really understand and care about other people. When things get hot or tough, compassion is often put to the test. Here's how to show kindness in those times. Stoicism advises us to remain calm and forgiving even when things go wrong or people don't agree. When things go wrong, being kind not only helps you grow as a person, it also makes things easier. Things you can do right now to be kind when things are tough. 1. During a fight, try to understand how the other person feels and see things from their point of view. Make it your goal to solve the problem instead of trying to win. 2. Help people who are having a bad day. Show someone you care and understand when they are having a hard time. Being there and listening is sometimes the kindest thing you can do. 3. Use quiet thought when you're under a lot of stress. When you're under a lot of stress, stop and think about stern ideas like the difference between power and calm. This makes it easier for you to stay calm and kind. Doing these things every day will help you understand and care about other people better, especially when things are hard or unusual. These extracurricular activities are in line with Stoic ideas, and they also improve your personal and social life. This makes the world a better place for everyone. Being kind and patient is a big part of being silent. This helps you connect with others more deeply and grow as a person. When we listen, try to understand, do community work, and think about our relationships, we get to know and connect with the people around us better. This makes our connections stronger and helps us learn and understand things in new ways. This makes our life journey more important and full. When we do these things, we show the Stoic values of care and understanding, which are important for living a good life. Lesson 8. Work on being persistent and stuck to your goals. Stoicism teaches us how to keep going even when things get hard. This is especially helpful as we try to become better people and learn new things. In order to stick to our plans and goals, even when things get tough or progress is slow, we must develop the strength to do so. Stoicism says that changing for the better and getting smarter is often a long and hard road, but it is also a very good one. How Stoics deal with problems. Stoics don't think problems are hard to solve. They see them as steps that must be taken in order to grow and become wise. This point of view tells us to face our problems head-on and use them as chances to get stronger and better people. It was Marcus Aurelius who said, "What stands in the way of action becomes the way." Steps you can take to be more persistent. 1. Set goals and plans for the long run. Clear out your mind often and write down your long-term goals. This keeps you determined and on track, especially when things get hard. 2. Break up big issues into manageable steps. Break up a big problem or job into smaller steps that you can handle. This makes the job less scary and helps you get it done faster. 3. Think a lot about the good things that have happened to you in the past. Think about the issues you've already resolved. This makes you even more sure that you can be persistent and succeed. 4. Take on a growth mindset. Work hard and don't give up. You can get smarter and better at things if you believe in yourself. This method encourages people to be strong and eager to learn and improve. 5. To get ideas for your own writing, read and think about Stoic works that stress the virtue of persistence. Stoics knew a lot of things that can help you and give you ideas. 6. Take your time with everyday things. Patience is an important trait to have when you're waiting in line or dealing with a slow process. You can get better at it with practice. In order to learn to continue and build inner strength and resilience, it's important to make regularity a daily habit. Stoicism says that you should learn and follow rules every day. By adding normal habits and routines into our daily lives, we can strengthen our commitment to our goals and increase our capacity for perseverance. Steps you can take to make things more consistent. 1. Set up daily habits. Set daily habits that will help you meet your long-term goals, like giving yourself a certain amount of time to think, study, or work out. Doing these things over and over again helps you stay focused and not give up. 2. You can use schedules, plans, notes, and other tools to help you stick to your habits and goals. Changing and going over your plan often can help you stay on track and keep your mind on the task at hand. 3. Every day, make small promises. Promise yourself that every day you will do small tasks that will help you reach your bigger goals. Over time, these small steps add up to big changes. Using Stoic acceptance when things go wrong or take too long. Stoicism stresses how important it is to learn to deal with things that are out of our control, like delays or mistakes. Stoicism tells us not to let losses make us sad, but to keep our cool and move on. Right now, here are some things you can do to accept things as they are when they go wrong or take too long. 1. Accept the stern idea that you should separate the things you can control from the things you can't. Focus on the things you can control and calmly accept the things you can't. This will help you see the dichotomy of power. 2. Think of bad things that happen as chances to learn and get better. Take a step back and think about your mistakes. Instead of letting them bring you down, use them to learn and improve. 3. Develop your resilience. As a Stoic, you know how important it is to keep your emotions in check. Keep your feelings in check and be ready to change your plans when problems arise out of the blue. Stoic ideas can help you stay strong even when things get tough. If you follow these Stoic rules every day, you will get better at staying strong. You can develop resilience in the face of adversity by focusing on your long-term objectives and viewing setbacks as opportunities to learn and advance. Stoicism tells us that if we follow these steps, the path to personal growth and continuing to learn may be hard, but it is also very good. Building resilience and determination will help you deal with setbacks and problems with a strong will, so you can reach your goals and reach your full potential. Stoicism is a great way to get through this trip. It includes both old-fashioned advice and useful tips on how to draw on your inner strength and resilience. Lesson 8. Be strong and keep going even when things get hard. Stoicism teaches us how to keep going even when things get hard. This is especially helpful as we try to become better people and learn new things. In order to stick to our plans and goals, even when things get tough or progress is slow, we must develop the strength to do so. Stoicism says that changing for the better and getting smarter is often a long and hard road, but it is also a very good one. As a Stoic, you know how important it is to keep your emotions in check. Keep your feelings in check and be ready to change your plans when problems arise out of the blue. Follow these Stoic rules every day to put the ideas of Stoicism into practice. This will help you keep going even when things get tough. You can develop resilience in the face of adversity by focusing on your long-term objectives and viewing setbacks as opportunities to learn and advance. It may be hard to keep learning and growing as a person if you follow these steps, but it is also very helpful. Stoicism tells us that developing the virtues of resilience and persistence will help you deal with problems and setbacks with a strong will, so you can reach your goals and reach your full potential in the end. Stoicism is a great way to get through this trip because it tells us to see problems as normal parts of learning and chances to grow. It includes both old advice and new useful tips on how to boost your inner strength and resilience. Real-life advice for being Stoic. When you fail, see it as a chance to learn. Do not rush when something goes wrong. Instead, think about what went wrong and what you can learn from it. Failures can teach you a lot if you change how you see them. Be calm when you think about power. As often as possible, remind yourself of the stern duality of control. Focus on the things you do and think that you can change instead of the things that happen, which you can't always change. Keep your growth in mind and let it happen at its own pace. Know that it takes time to make progress and that you need to be patient to keep going with something. By incorporating these extra steps into your daily routine, you can give yourself more strength to deal with the ups and downs that come with personal growth and lifelong learning. Consistency, practice, and a tough attitude toward failure are all important ways to build resilience and resolve on your path to learning new things and improving yourself. Stand firm if you want to become smarter and better. This is very important for Stoics. Setting long-term goals, breaking down obstacles, focusing on past wins, having a growth mindset, getting ideas from Stoic lessons, and practicing waiting all help us build the resilience and resolve we need to get past problems and keep learning throughout our lives. Our character is improved, and our life experiences are made richer by our determination to keep going. It also helps us meet our personal and educational goals. Lesson 9. Teach intellectual humility and a desire to learn. Make your mind ready to accept new ideas and things. Stoicism stresses how important it is to always be ready to learn new things and keep your mind humble. No matter how much we think we know, we can always learn more. It means agreeing that our ideas and thoughts can change over time, especially as we learn new things and come up with new points of view. Stoic ideas about knowledge and wisdom. The Stoics knew that the only way to be truly wise is to be aware of how little you know. Always wanting to learn and grow was what they pushed for. This is especially important in the world we live in now, where things change so quickly. We keep our minds open to new ideas and grow as people because of this way of doing things. Now is the time to start being intellectually humble. Always learn something new. Keep an open mind and know that no matter how old you are or how much knowledge you have, there is always something new to find out. Often think about what you believe. Think about what you believe and what you think. Think about why you believe what you do and be ready to change your mind if you learn something new or find a better reason. Try to see things from different angles. Find thoughts and ideas that aren't the same as yours. Learning about things from different points of view can help you understand them better and make you question what you believe you know. It's important to listen actively when you talk or chat, especially when talking about something tough or controversial. Don't just wait for your turn to talk. Listen actively instead. Just try to see things as the other person does. Read many different things. You can learn more by reading books, papers, and other things about a lot of different subjects, even if those subjects aren't usually your thing. Mistakes are chances to learn. There was something wrong. When you make a mistake, think about what you can learn from it. Seeing mistakes as chances to learn makes you more intellectually humble. Intellectual curiosity is a big reason why people keep learning, and the idea has its roots in the Stoic philosophy. For the sake of learning, it means really wanting to find out new things, learn about new things, and understand hard ideas. When we're intellectually interested, our minds stay busy and open, ready to learn and grow from every new event. If you want to be more intelligent in real life, try learning something new every day. You should make time to learn about things that you don't usually find interesting. This could mean going to talks, movies, or online lessons about things you don't know much about. Talk about things that make you think. Talk to people who can help you think of new ideas. Having talks that are stimulating for your mind can make you want to learn more. Make a list of your questions. You should keep a journal where you can write down new ideas, questions, or things that interest you. Keep coming back to these questions and study or talk about them to find out more. To learn, have the mind of a beginner. This is a Zen Buddhist idea that fits well with Stoic ideals. It means going into every situation with the curiosity and openness of someone who is just starting out, no matter how much you know. This way of thinking helps you get over being proud of your knowledge and leads to a more humble and in-depth way of learning and understanding. To keep your mind fresh, learn new things and look at them in a fresh way. No matter what you're learning or going over, try to remember it as if it were the first time. This way of doing things keeps you from getting comfy and helps you learn new things. Mindfulness is a good way to learn. Pay close attention and be in the present moment while you learn. When you're aware, you can better understand and value the little things you're learning. Ask for help and feedback a lot. Even if you think you know a lot about a subject, ask other people for feedback and help. You stay on track and want to keep getting better because of this habit. Simply by adding these extra activities to the way you learn, you not only follow the ideas of Stoicism, but you also get smarter and learn more. Keeping an open mind and being interested in new things are great ways to make sure that your road of learning and self-improvement is enjoyable. Some important parts of Stoicism and personal growth are intellectual humility and a willingness to learn. To develop this, we should always be willing to learn new things, question our beliefs, and look for different points of view. Reading, listening, and making mistakes are all great ways to do this. Not only does this way of thinking help us understand the world better, but it also helps us adapt, grow, and do well in a world that is always changing. Being mentally humble helps us stay grounded and open, which is good for our learning and growth. Don't be afraid of change, be open to it. Get better at changing the way you think and act. The last lesson in our road to becoming calm talks about how important it is to be flexible and open to new things. Socrates teaches us many good things, but one of the most important ones is how to deal with change. This lesson is all about how to deal with new problems and situations with ease and grace. This is a skill you will need for the rest of your life to keep learning and growing. How to understand change in Stoicism. Change is a normal part of life, says Stoic thought. Marcus Aurelius said, "Always keep in mind that everything happens through change." To stay calm and get things done in a world that is always changing, you need to understand and accept this idea. Mindful acceptance is a skill that can help you deal with not knowing what will happen. You can accept the present moment with all of its questions and opportunities by practicing mindfulness. When you know this, you don't worry as much about what you don't know. When you don't know what will happen, think about what you can change. You can change how you respond and the choices you make. Don't worry about the things you can't change. Get ready for the worst that might happen. It's impossible to know what will happen in every case, but making plans for what to do in general can help you feel less stressed and more at ease. A big part of being flexible is being able to let go of things that don't help you and move on. It can be old ideas, bad habits, or even goals that you no longer care about. If you want to be strong, you need to know when to change course and have the guts to do it. Here are some real-life tips on how to learn to let go. 1. Regularly check your goals, habits, and beliefs to see if they still fit with your reality and values. This helps you figure out what you might need to change or give up. 2. Get better at separation. Learn to separate yourself from the results and understand that letting go is a major part of growing. It doesn't mean you don't care, but it does mean you shouldn't get too attached to one goal or path. 3. Find inner peace. Even when things are changing around you, keep your inner peace by meditating or thinking Stoic thoughts. Being at peace with yourself makes it easier to let go and move on. By incorporating these extra steps into your daily routine, you can strengthen your ability to adapt, deal with uncertainty, and let go when necessary. These skills are very helpful for navigating the ever-changing landscape of life and for continuing to learn and grow. Accepting uncertainty and learning to let go are important skills for surviving in a world that is always changing, according to Stoic philosophy. Being open to change and able to adapt is important if you want to follow the Stoic philosophy and do well in the modern world. We can be confident and at ease when life changes because we are cognitively flexible, have a change attitude, plan for different outcomes, stay informed, make our habits more flexible, and learn from the past. We can deal with the unknowns of life better when we can change. It also lets us try new things, learn new things, and grow as people in a world that is always changing. Being able to adapt better is one of the most useful things we can learn. As we come to the end of this journey through Stoic philosophy, it's important to think about how these lessons can change our everyday lives. Stoicism offers guidance on how to live a life of virtue, resilience, and happiness, in addition to being more than just an intellectual debate. When we use these lessons in our daily lives, we give ourselves the tools to deal with life's problems and make the most of its opportunities by being kind and smart. The things we've talked about aren't just thoughts. They're meant to be done and felt. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Don't waste time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Being a good person is what Stoicism is all about. Doing what you believe in is the only way to build resilience, mindfulness, the ability to accept change, or kindness. In each lesson, you can learn something new and make your life better. To live by Stoic ideals, we have to keep working at them and thinking about them. Because it's a journey, the road is just as important as the end goal. Every day is a new chance to show these good traits, grow as people, and learn from our mistakes. The great thing about Stoic thought is that it works for everyone, no matter what they are going through. Don't forget what the Stoics taught us. Let it shape our actions and choices as we move forward. Let's resolve to live by these principles every day, keep an open mind about our actions and thoughts, and constantly work to improve ourselves. That makes our lives better, and the lives of those around us better as well. Keep in mind that Stoicism is not about being perfect, but about getting better. As we work to get better, we should be kind to ourselves, notice our progress, and learn from our mistakes. Let's be stoic and respect each other, be brave, and keep an open heart. Then we'll be ready to deal with anything life throws at us with calm and knowledge. As we bring our exploration of Stoicism to a close, it's important to remember that the journey you've embarked on is one of continuous growth and self-discovery. The principles and practices of Stoicism you've been introduced to are tools for life, designed to guide you toward a more serene, resilient, and fulfilling existence. The power of repetition in embedding Stoic principles into your daily life cannot be overstated. Just as habits form through consistent action, so too will the transformative power of Stoicism become apparent through regular reflection and application of its teachings. It's in the day-to-day moments of choice, challenge, and contemplation that the true essence of Stoicism comes to life, shaping your reactions and fortifying your spirit. Carry forward the insights and practices you've learned, letting them illuminate your path as you navigate the complexities of life. Remember, Stoicism isn't a destination, but a journey, one that offers profound insights into the nature of happiness, virtue, and the good life. Thank you for taking the first steps on this path with us. May the journey ahead be rich with growth, understanding, and the peace that comes from living in harmony with Stoic wisdom. Keep revisiting these teachings, letting them guide you through life's trials and triumphs. Here's to your continued transformation and the endless possibilities that await as you embrace Stoicism in your quest to transform your life forever.